why Simon always assumes I hit the record button early. I mean, 98% of the time, he's absolutely incorrect.
It's because you're so unprofessional, Billy, and you're trying to catch me in a trap. I know what you're doing every time now.
What kind of trap can I get
Yeah,
you?
he's nasty like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's normally in a contentious, foul language, F-bombing moment. You know,
perhaps you should refrain from having those F-bomb moments.
Well, listen, some of them come from your nuts hanging out in the beach.
Why y'all bringing internet?
We did hear
stuff?
about that earlier today.
Why y'all bringing internet stuff to the internet? Better yet, personal internet stuff to the personal internet. What's going on?
When that came to light, I seen that message late at night. I said, I don't care if Simon and Heather's asleep. I literally picked up the phone, called them. I couldn't even get air because I was like, man, Billy has had this coming for so fucking long, and Heather pops that shit. And that picture was what, a year plus old?
Oh, it was an ancient picture.
Was it on Facebook or what?
Oh yeah, proud.
Yeah, it's on Facebook.
Professional photographer.
Oh shit.
Yeah. In fact, we need to talk to Beth about that because, I mean, you know.
It wasn't her.
Well, I mean, she did hit the click button.
Mm.
I mean, I'm just saying that's where I'd be looking to lay blame if I was you, mate.
It wasn't. Beth didn't take the pictures.
No.
Who took the pictures?
Some guy down in Destin, Florida.
Oh dear. What does that say about you, Billy?
Oh, there's probably some serious laws about that in Florida too.
Oh, I bet them are.
The beautiful thing about hitting record early is if it backfires on me, I can just hit delete and I can just start over from the beginning.
Yeah, but I know you're an ethical man, Billy. You wouldn't even do that to yourself.
I can't.
I know.
I can't even pass up on a cell phone. A self-owned, not a cell phone. Anyway. All right. Welcome back to the Appalachian Podcast, everybody. I'm your host once again, Billy Riddle. With me, as always, is my British redcoat, turncoat, Paul Revere hating son of a gun.
Bless the man. He did the right thing.
Who?
Paul Revere.
Yeah, we talked about that on last week's show. He didn't say the British are coming.
The regulars, I was like.
Yeah, the regulars.
Well, we'll go ahead before we get to the pleasantries and stuff. I'm excited about this show. We got our old friend Amos Denton back on here representing the German Baptist community, looking like Eric Church. Amos, we appreciate you gracing us with your presence. It's not often I get you to the house for a show. Usually I got to come up to the woods.
I didn't come up here for you.
Well, either way, I appreciate you. And our buddy from Being Libertarian, Chip Slate. We hadn't had Chip on since the Spike episode. And that one was such a fluid show. We didn't really get a chance to talk to him much or talk to Henry a lot. I mean, everything was kind of going, but good to get you down here in a more relaxed environment to drink a little bit of
I thought we were fairly relaxed up at the cabin myself.
Till that cannon went off by my head. That was...
Oh, yeah, about that.
Well, there's a lot of moving parts, and they were trying to get to Roanoke to do their thing, and I was still trying to get them down there to the range so they could shoot, and we didn't really have a lot of time for conversating. So, you know, it all ended up working out pretty well. And actually, as we're sitting here in the Timcast IRL studios,
There you go.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't know, whatever. I think it come on at 9:00. Is it 9:00 Eastern?
I think that's right.
Every night. I mean, they're not, like I said many times before, they're not a competitor or anything. We offer completely different stuff, but I really like what they're doing over there. And I really like the fact that do us a little bit of money to spread it around Appalachia. That's kind of what we're doing here today's show as well. What did you look at me like that for?
It wasn't a lustful look.
Some things you keep to yourself until the time's right.
Okay. Well, so we wanted to get back all together and tie a lot of things in and, you know, just talk about some cool stuff. It was a good opportunity to just get on and hang out and drink some liquor. My wife constantly accuses me of only starting this show as a reason to sit around and drink beer with my buddies because I can pretend like we're doing something productive. And it's actually turned from that potentially into something much bigger. Like a hobby has turned into something with a lot more responsibility.
That's what Tina says about the wood shop.
Exactly. We're working, but we're also conversating and I feel like this is one of those shows that, you know what, she's probably right. She's probably right on this one. This is just an excuse to sit around and drink. But we got such good minds around here. I say, let's just throw the record button on and let's have
See what happens.
Have a hell of a conversation. Because a lot of this about our show is going to tie into this. Before we get to that real quick, Rocky Mount Burger Company, one of our big sponsors. We got some stuff coming up here in the near future with them. We sat down with Henry Law tonight and had a conversation. We're going to talk about that here on this show a little bit and some of the things we talked to him about. Henry Law's Choice Distillery, Hell's Holler. Go out there. You can find that at any of the local ABC stores around here. And look, Henry loves Franklin County. He loves this area.
I think that's a big motivating factor.
Oh, I mean, God, I know what I'm doing here. What are you talking?
You ain't never know what you was
I know
doing.
what I'm talking. What are you talking?
But listen,
hey, Amos sitting over here in the corner. Don't ever listen to the show. Don't forget about this. Hey, look.
I created this, Billy.
Okay, we'll get to that.
But what my look earlier was, he was up at the cabin when Spike was in when I made the 5-minute appearance.
Yeah.
Token appearance.
Because I was supposed to meet him then.
Yeah, and now you're roped into a DC trip here in February that we're going to talk about on this show as well, for obvious reasons. I'll get back to it, for the love of God. Henry Lee, Law.
This is how it goes.
I didn't take my meds this morning. I feel like
right now they're filming Moonshiners around here, so he's back and forth. We had him come out tonight, and we'll explain why later. Big reason we're trying to do some stuff around here, but loves Franklin County. Henry's just all about it, and
it motivates him, and that's a great thing.
Yeah. And having him up there tonight, and we were trying to get Brian and a few others, but just talk about how good of a town we have here in Rocky Mountain Burger Company. They're a big sponsor of us. We're trying to get Henry talking about doing a show maybe here in the future where we can maybe find a way to where a guest can come on, like a big fan or something like that. Maybe have a raffle drawing or something where a big fan can come and sit down and ask him questions. Do it upstairs at the Burger Company, so maybe second, third, fourth.
The barrel room with Trinity.
Exactly. So the second, third, or fourth place can also get to go up in there, sit down, listen to the show, and maybe get to ask one question. So, and it's really promoting our area because the Burger Company gives the great food. You go upstairs, we got our own private person, but even if you're downstairs, there's always somebody on top of your stuff. We went down there this past weekend on Saturday. They had the cruise in, and we went down there and listened to a little bit of music at the farmer's market. My wife's Stewart's band was playing.
All right.
Yeah, Stewart from our Conspiracy Theory episode. If you haven't went and listened to any of those, you need to go listen to those. Those are good shows. So they were playing, went to the Burger Company afterwards. 10 of us. So I was like, we got to find a seat outside. It was actually warm enough this time of year, and service was great. Food was great. And
that cruise in thing is really turning out to be a very successful regular event.
I think I'm going to bring a tractor.
Bring 29.
We'll get to that too. Anyway, so the Burger Company, go check them out anytime you're in town. Check out on the Harvest. If you're coming to a show at the Harvester, come a little bit early, go over there, get you a drink. Bo makes some good stuff. I always like the sunrise. And they're always so good to the show. Hopefully, we're going to be moving forward with them for some things. Like I said, the Barrel Room coming up in the future. Also, thank you, Amos, Rocky Mountain Smokehouse, formerly Buddy's Barbecue. Now, Buddy's is also is also one of those places. Look, you're coming in off 220, you're traveling through town, you get off Boom. It's right there. If you want to come in and hang out for a minute, you can go to either place, but Smokehouse offers something a little different. Got the barbecue, got the ribs, a chicken sandwich, which you add bacon to it now. I mean, I love it. You got the pulled chicken, all the barbecue sauce, and the world-class wings. And Buddy's a good dude, too. He's a big member of the community. Mm-hmm. Like, when you support people like this, you really are giving back. You really...
you got Jim at Living Proof. There's the folks up at the Social House. Great venue. Anastasia's. Ippies. Great venue.
I mean, if you're coming in off road, you want to go in Ippies, you want to have a high class meal with people in there with suits and ties and get you a steak. And then if you're feeling like getting in a bar fight afterwards, you walk through the doors and you go in there and listen to live music, and some local will probably, I'm just kidding. That only happened when we were there back in the day, because we used.
Were you giving me that look for, Billy?
He did turn and look straight at you.
Oh yeah, he did.
That was a direct. Yeah.
I have fought friends in Nippies before, so I mean, let's not.
Hey, it happens.
Yeah, I mean, what are you going to do? But yeah, we got a great town here. We're talking about ways to improve that, and here locally, because Chip's from right down the road here, and funny enough, we had Abe on here that time, Abe Naff, and we were explaining that either we getting ready to have you on or just had you on, and he was talking about you doing the whole. The Ferrum baseball camp thing. He's like, I remember that name. Now, how now Abe Knapp has many ball players just on Ferrum that's come through there, not to mention all the camp kids that were snotty little 6th and 7th graders all those years. But could remember him. Yeah. He's like, he paid for it on his own with his own bank account, like when he was 9 or 10 years old. He's like, we all said that kid's going places. He might not play baseball. He's going to do shit. And I said, well, he was right.
That's why I remembered him.
Yeah.
No, that's exactly. They knew I wasn't going to play baseball. I had to do something else.
But I mean, nobody going through there was probably going to play baseball. Very few was even going to play D3. But he was like, I remember that kid. He came and he worked a summer job and he paid with his own bank account and his own damn check.
It makes me like him even more.
I'm telling you.
That's how it should be done, right?
We were sitting up there earlier, and I said something about, I said Hunter Naff. He was like, is he came to the coach. I was like, yeah.
I ran into Wes the other day as well. Wes Neff.
Oh, he's not Wes, but Hunter's another one of those sleazy defense attorneys we don't like talking about.
That's it.
He's my neighbor, man.
I love him to death. I use him all the time. Any kind of legal help out. Yeah, I love him. If you need any help for, I don't even know what he offers, but
rugby player. Yeah,
that's
how we met.
Give me a holler. I'll put you in touch and yeah, good towns. Good. Y'all have got me completely off track. Who else do I need to talk about? We talked about Buddies. We talked about Smokehouse. Henry Law. Go check out the Moonshiners. They're recording right now for the 13th season, so make sure you're keeping tabs, catching up on all the reruns.
Safe Side. Always going to mention Safe Side Tactical. Great bunch.
If anybody over there is listening, tell them to hit us up. Go in there and say, hey, Appalachian Podcast, I've tried to get in touch with them. Want to bring them back on. They did some good stuff for us. And we got some big stuff coming up in the future I like them to be a part of because they're big 2A people, obviously. And with our trip to D.C. here and some people we're going to be bringing back in the area, I would like to recreate, things like that and like give them the first crack. And then, hopefully we're sending people over there their way. I've sent a few people over there to get ammo and weapons here in the, past few weeks and months. And
there we go. I knew it was going to happen.
Well, from him, obviously, it never stops ringing. That's the politician. Politician.
Oh dear.
Cease don't call unless it's important.
Okay.
Well, I was going to say it's got to be Caleb, right?
No, Caleb. I know he's listening to this. Caleb. Sometimes I can't answer when it's Caleb. If I got a kid in my hand and another one in my ear, I'm like, good Lord, I can't do it driving down the road. But if I can get that opportunity, I try and talk to Caleb at least once a week.
Oh, he catches me once a week without fail.
Yeah. But it's good. Keeping tabs on what's going on in Texas. But yeah, so now that Amos has left the room to stop distracting me, everybody in Rocky Mountain, also Spike Cohen, We Are the Power. If you got a couple extra dollars lying around, you want to support an organization that's going around, and they're working hand in hand kind of with what we're doing. They're going around and they're going to towns, localities, and they're trying to put people in the right positions. That's what we're kind of doing here. So why not?
And calling out the folks actually that are doing a great injustice to the local residents from doing the right thing. Like, what was the chap down in? I can't even remember where it was. I think it was Georgia, and it was a church feeding the needy. And for some reason, the municipality, whatever government organization,
talking about with Spike,
was giving them hell.
That was in Columbia, South Carolina.
Columbia and
South Carolina.
and Gastonia, North Carolina.
Yeah,
because I went down to Gastonia.
So he practices what he preaches, sticking up for the little guy and, developing community through having the right people in office, which is definitely the way it needs to go because DC ain't going to support a damn thing you do.
Well, especially for not the two main parties. Anybody that's not
the duopoly,
mainstream.
You mean? The duopoly? Oh, dear. Yeah, funny that.
Well, that's a good way to talk. That's a good way to start this show off, and talk about it. And we'll get to other stuff, but Spike is kind of the reason how, we all got together and met anyway, because I knew Chip was kind of local. I've been following his page, Being Libertarian, which is, I got a massive following. Him and a bunch of guys run that thing. And I reached out to him. I said, all right, I understand you live close by. Come on by, hang out. We got Spike. I know you're a libertarian dude. Let's all get together and try and start reaching out and branching and making connections. And everything worked out really well that weekend. And here we are. We got him back down in town because we're talking about meeting up again with Spike in D.C. in a couple of months. And that's kind of a big deal for us. So,
well, the spin-off, I think, from that show has been nothing but positive. We've had Mike Tamart up, who, just a genius of a guy, a White House economist on the Appalachian Podcast.
Nice.
That's just insane.
It was like, I'm going to Chicago. I'll go a few hours out of my way to drop down in the Rocky
And what a
Mountain
gentleman.
Come on, your guy. Yeah,
what a gentleman.
I like Mike a lot. Honestly, in the Libertarian, as it's going now, when do they vote on it? Like March or something?
That's right.
Because we've been reached out a little bit because Michael Rechtenwald is running. We've been reached out by some people on that end. Joshua Smith has reached out to us. I'd like to get him by. Chase Oliver was here in Vinton a few weeks ago, and I tried to reach out to him. Like, hit up my media page. I'm like, yeah. I don't have the time.
It's actually, and that's.
I'll hit you up on Twitter. Get back to me.
That's
Let's
it.
figure it out or not.
You've already interviewed one, right? There's one that
Mike Tamart.
Okay.
We had Tamart on here. And honestly, in a perfect world, Spike would be the presidential nominee and Tremont would be the vice presidential nominee, because Spike goes out there, he's the face of it, and he's getting, although he hasn't ran. And I don't want to say anything else about the rest of it. This is all hypothetical, but for me, just because Mike has just an incredible knowledge of the inner workings of the swamp up there. And I just think it's a great combination. Now, granted, that's for one. Spike was talking last night on the Spaces. If you're not a subscriber, go subscribe to him. Once a month, he does a Spaces, and there was a handful of us there listening. He was talking, kind of updating us on some things, and I popped in to listen, and he was like, "Hey, you there? You want to talk? You want to say anything?" And because I was trying to carry around the kids, so I finally popped in there and just told them we were going to Liberty Con, and appreciate everything they're doing. But yeah, they're doing really good work with the local stuff.
It's just a shame that their national presence, and I hate to say, because this is kind of, it's counter to what they are doing, but if they were more in step with the duopoly in how they create the people that are representing the local regions, or how the leadership works, if it was a little bit more in step with timing of the duopoly, I think that would help them enormously.
Well, he also hasn't ruled it out, is what he said last night as well, which I guess they vote in March. So honestly, Spike's the kind of guy, he could come out in February and say, all right, I'm going to run, and he would probably walk the dog and probably take it all. And I don't want to speak because I like a lot of the things what the rest of them are saying. I really do. I mean, I've got my likes and I've got my dislikes as anybody else. I don't want to run any of them into the ground. I don't want to say what I like, get too in deal, because I'd like for them to come on the show and talk about things, talk about this region, because Appalachia is chock full of liberty-minded people. And if you can let them...
More so than they realize themselves.
And that's the thing. And libertarians do it a little differently. Like their primary, you just get a bunch of people that end up running. Can you explain to it a little bit easier how it goes, Chip? What do? They all get together, and the Republicans and Democrats, they primary, and they go around from state to state with the Democrats, but the Libertarians all get together and vote themselves.
It's all at the convention, and so it's all set up there. Whoever wins there at the convention takes the position, and I agree with you. I think Spike would be perfect for it. I think you need charisma in that position if you're going to stand out from the duopoly. But another part, you talked about the timing being perfect. The duopoly sues to keep the Libertarian Party out of these elections, all across the country. They do that. I know Spike tries to make a big deal out of that, and more people should. But that is the reality. And you can check across different states and see the status, but that is the case. That's part of the game, is trying to keep your competition out.
And that's appalling.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, and so all these different guys are running, and they're trying to get the nomination at the convention. So it's a little different dichotomy. They're not really primarying to the public. They're primarying to other libertarians. And for us, we don't have a massive libertarian following. We got a decent enough one, and we're kind of converting people. But a lot of our audience, and rightfully so, are probably, more Trump guys. Why? Because Trump punches back. And they don't have time to get into the meat and the bones of politics and understand, well, Trump punches back, but this libertarian guy would punch back more. You just don't know who he is. So we're trying to slowly, bring people to like a liberty-minded perspective, but I would still like to get those guys on and say, hey, hypothetically speaking, let's say you did get in charge. What would you do for the Appalachian area? Because we've got a lot of, hopefully I'll get on here on Twitter or X here in a second and find out a few, from a few people with some questions they have, what really makes our area shine and what some things we really need to work on. But I would like to get these guys on here. So I don't want to, I don't got any personal beef with any of them. I've got my likes and dislikes, but if we can get them here and talking just like Mike, just like Spike, get these guys around here, who knows?
I wish they did their convention just a little bit earlier.
Right.
Is really where I'm at. It seems a little bit late in the day to be really getting your teeth into a campaign. And there's pros and cons to that as well. I understand coming in a little bit late may actually give you an enormous amount of momentum, particularly when you're reacting to the current political state of play.
Sure.
Because, you can hear that message so many times and it just gets worn out. But if you compact it in a short space of time with the way their convention works, I get the impact of the message can actually be more effective. But, I think the voting public would like to see more of a representation of the Libertarian Party earlier on.
Right. And I agree with what you're saying, Billy, about, you need to have these people on because, as we talked about earlier, you want to have these venues for people to talk. We don't have that anymore. We actually have, sort of the opposite, I think, in mainstream press. And so, I think people are looking and excited to find these areas where people have other people that have maybe different views on to talk about and explore things.
Well, let's talk about, we'll get to our mission here in a second up in DC, but when we're talking about Appalachia, one thing that I think is a huge negative is the opioid crisis. And let's look at that. That pretty much started in the Clinton administration, ran straight through and got hot and heavy in Bush, slowed down a little bit during Obama, but finally went away for the most part when Trump came around. But nothing has really changed in our region as far as that concerned. I mean, it's just went from the pills, and now everybody is moved on to heroin. And now the heroin has fentanyl in it. We're losing hundreds of people. I mean,
I was going to say fentanyl is it's outrageous. What I see for fentanyl is unbelievable right now.
Unbelievably dangerous.
Mm-hmm. And just so widespread. I've seen cases, and I'm a defense attorney, so I've seen some of these cases, or a lot of these cases now, where you'll have confidential informants, and they're asking for specific drugs. They're like, okay, I got some heroin or I got some crack. All of it is fentanyl. When it tests, all of it is fentanyl. So they don't even know what they're getting. They have no idea what they're getting. And
there was the case, I mentioned this on a previous podcast, a fairly recent one, where some folks were given, was it Narcan, to basically revive them, and they were revived. But the local community of users wanted that particular batch because they had been acclimated to a lesser batch. Now they're looking for something more lethal because their bodies are able to deal with it. So they're upping the stake. But someone who comes into that game as a newbie and gets that really top level dose, I mean, it's absolutely lethal.
It's not even coming into the game. It's somebody that's just curious about something.
You don't know when you're going to get it presented to you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and no, that's the scary part.
And now we've got that. I mean, it's still running rapid, and shout out to Beth Macy. She's done a lot of good work. Sure. I don't know if you ever read any of her stuff, but Dope Sick, and then I've got what's the other one back here? It's Raising Lazarus. I think that one's going into the opioid epidemic a little bit more, turned into the show and everything. She's a local writer around here, Roanoke Times, and and I probably, if we sat down at the table and had a political discussion, we probably wouldn't see eye to eye about on 60% of the things, but I would support her with everything she does, because she really is going out there and exposing. I mean, she went up, her writing went up against Big Pharma, and she won.
Yeah.
Like country, and you can probably speak to this, country litigators in Abingdon, Virginia, just a couple of, roughnecks went up against the biggest attorneys, Rudy Giuliani. They went up against Rudy Giuliani. And I mean, granted, at the end of the day, it was a drop in the bucket compared to what the profits they made.
Well, the Chinese are making it. We've got an open border. I think it was last week, a certain cartel, I don't know which particular Mexican cartel, told their guys, you have to stop dealing in fentanyl, and we're going to start retribution if you continue this. So for the cartels to be going, we need to stop fentanyl.
Well, they're killing off their clientele.
Yeah.
Well, I mean...
absolutely.
Absolutely.
Well, I mean, you don't. I mean,
but an open border we're being flooded with military-age males, and fentanyl that's freely available out of China is flooding across the border.
Well, look, nobody else said it better than Woody Harrelson as his character as Roy Munson in the movie Kingpin, the movie about Amos's people. They he sits there and he says, "Do you want a cigarette?" And he's like, he says something about, "No, I don't have a cigarette." So they say it's bad for your health. And Woody Harrelson's character looks around and he says, "Well, who's done more research than the fine people at Big Tobacco? If they says it's safe, that they want their clientele getting killed off or something like that." I mean, it kind of makes sense to this to this degree. Like, you want them addicted to it, and you want them coming back and buying more. But if they're dead, they're not going to keep buying it. But which raises other questions: why are they letting it in the country? Why is somebody out there wanting to poison the base? Why? I mean, it seems to me like it
because they can't keep it out of the country.
Well, they could.
No, they can't.
They could.
Good Lord, they're walking across that border like flies on an old peach.
I mean that's a whole different discussion. But I'm saying like I mean,
so they can't keep it out.
Well, maybe they don't want to keep it out. Maybe it's going around and it's taking care of problems that they don't want to take care of because they've been getting these billions and billions forever and ever to solve homelessness. And the only thing they're solving is their bank accounts going up as they spend 10% of the donations on actual homeless. You know what I mean? Like,
well, and hasn't the administration just in the last few months completely changed their position? Like, aren't they sending money out of the wall to be built? You know, when they campaigned against Trump tonight.
They really are.
So it's, you know, I mean,
but that's exactly what they've done the whole time.
Right.
I mean, and I'm not just talking about this. I mean, the whole Democrat Party in general, as somebody that come into politics totally unbiased, I just don't understand how they have changed their standpoint on stuff over the last 50 years. I mean, it's unreal to me. It's like nobody has a brain enough to think, really?
I still resent calling them the Democratic Party. I call them the Progressive Party.
Yeah, I don't either.
That's because they're not. It's been they've done something that is a stroke of genius.
If the party of John F. Kennedy would never, ever even consider him running for president now, it's not the same party.
No.
Period.
Well, and history's shown that the parties do change over time. I mean, significantly.
But, you know, the 90-year-old farmer that the Democrat was a friend of the farmer 50 years, he's still voting Democrat. You ain't going to change that. I mean, I know it. I see it in, by God, Callaway.
And after he passes away, you know, he's still voting Democrat.
Yeah, funny that. I don't know how that happens.
That ain't even funny.
It seems to. What a shocker.
Well, okay, so how do we fix it? I mean, what can we do? I mean, we've seen, you know, Tara's talked about it before, the lines out the hind end to get in the methadone clinics before. Now you don't see that anymore, I think, for whatever reason, they've either cut it out or people can't get to it. But I mean, how do you curb it? How do you turn around what we've got?
Voting has been an epic fail.
I mean, because coal country is so beautiful.
Hijacked.
Very much so. But isn't that part of the plan?
Well, I honestly, I mean, as weird as this sounds, I've thought about this recently. You know, you have all these people coming out on all these different parties, wanting to run for this, you know, from, god awful progressive. I kind of think that helps because it comes a point, you know, it's been a two-party system and it should never be. There should be no parties, period.
No, I agree.
It should be the individual.
Yeah. If you're not smart enough to figure out who you're voting for, because people will literally vote down ticket.
Can we just have it where you have to write their names and write it right?
Or you can no longer put, you know, the blue or red, or if you're representing the Democrat or the Republican Party.
Well, they're all the same.
But they're no longer on the ticket when it comes to the literature that they're allowed to put out. Why is that?
Once it became a career, once being a politician became a career, it downhill from there. I mean, that's exactly the way it's went.
You know, honestly, I think Tim Pool's got a great idea on Congress, and it should be just like jury duty. Whoever you are, if you're in the pool, you just get randomly picked, and you got to show up to Congress for your X amount of time, and they'll pay for your room and board and your you know, travel and everything like that. But you ain't making a shit ton of money if you're a farmer. You know, they'll pay for your farm to be taken care of while you're gone or whatever. But
sure, I like it.
You know, why not?
Yeah,
why not?
It clearly works. Fetterman's in Congress.
Well, talking about, you know, having options beyond the duopoly, what about RFK Jr.? You know, what does he present? I mean, does he open up independence if he runs as an independent for president? I mean, what happens with him?
He is running. And he's running as independent, yeah.
I think that's his intention.
I think that's his intention.
I think he already has announced that he's done that.
See, everybody's going back and forth about that, and they say, well, he's going to take votes from Trump. Look,
I don't care who takes them from.
I don't think nobody's taking votes from Trump. I don't think anybody is. I think the only thing that RFK does have that he could take away from Trump is on the COVID stuff. But every time he opens his mouth about anything else, which includes gun control or anything to that nature, or now we're talking about reparations, he's not going to get any of those people to come over. He will take votes from Biden. And Trump will likely end up, if they do it right and it's not completely a shit show, then Trump should win, and he could win with like a 42% of the population. Like, he could win with 42% of the vote. Easy. And right now he's winning in all the swing states, so.
But Wisconsin.
I mean, y'all been doing polls on X here this past week, and you're doing each candidate, and you did all of them the Trump, Biden, RFK, the LP nominee, and then Trump dominated that one. Then you moved in DeSantis. All of a sudden, the Trump nominee moved up, or no, the LP nominee moved up much closer. And then you did Ramaswamy in the same deal.
He did well.
So yeah.
Haley did not.
No, yeah. She shouldn't have either. But Biden did terrible in all of them. Like, that's just, like, we should all be able to agree on one thing. That's why I can't take anybody seriously who thinks Biden has done a good. I cannot take you seriously look, I voted for George Bush 2 times, and I will tell you he is an epic failure, and he should be thrown in jail for war crimes. And they cannot sit here and look at me with a straight face and say that Biden is doing. I mean, this is ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
A lot of people are expecting in the next 30 days for something to happen to Biden. Have you heard that?
Oh, yeah. That's very much so.
Because these next 30 days are important politically.
I'm expecting something to happen every time he tries to walk onto the airplane.
True. But notice he always falls going up the steps. He's never fallen going down them. Interesting, right?
Well, let's get back to what we were talking about Appalachia. I mean, what are some ways? I mean, the opioid. How do you get a hold of that? Honestly, I mean, like you said, you can't count on voting to do it. I mean, people, the easiest criticism everybody has about people in the church is, oh, you don't have, and you know what? Right now, it's hard for people in the church to go out there and worry about taking care of other people because we're all living paycheck to paycheck. We all can't afford groceries. We can't afford fuel. So you're sitting there, you're because of your voting policies, now you're going to turn around and smear, well, you don't do enough. Well, you know what? I'll tell you what, take all your taxes away, stop forcing us to pay taxes, and see how much better churches get and are able to go support some of these things to help out with these clinics, because there's so much red tape nonsense and bullshit out there. You might have to wait weeks to get to a rehab clinic, or then you do and this happens and then you're gone. I mean, there's so much red tape and government nonsense behind it. You can't help people.
Well, and you can go the other way. You could subsidize it. You could actually encourage these nonprofit organizations to do that.
Well, that I think is where the problem with the churches stems from.
The red tape
is the 501c3 status, where the pastor, the preacher, whatever, cannot talk about politics from the pulpit, because that's a 501c3 thing. You have to be apolitical, and that's a conversation that needs to be had in church. And for that to be stifled, I think is a huge mistake. But that's just, again, that's my opinion.
Well, either way, like I said, people in the church, if you give them the opportunity, and I don't want to go deep down the non-taxation rabbit hole about how we could get to these points, but I mean, it's just people are hurting in this region. Areas in coal country in Southwest Virginia used to be massively populated, have seen their population shrink by 4 to 5 times.
Ghost towns.
I mean,
the furniture industry around here.
Yeah.
Down Henry.
It's gone.
Henry County, Danville used to be in the 70s. Danville and Martinsville, the 2 fastest growing cities in Virginia between textiles, furniture, and tobacco.
But it's across the board. From farmers used to be able, a family used to be able to make great money on milking
dairy farms,
50 cows.
Gone.
You can't do it. It's got to be factory farming now. You got to have thousands of but it's easier to control 10 people than it is 200. And that's why you got to eliminate all the mom and pop stuff.
Well, and plus with the mom and pops, then you have people are also taking that into other avenues, and now they're more and more inclined to support local and support their local people, and that's keeping money out of the middleman's hand, because you're going to go to your buddy and say, well, hey, how about this? You give me 30 pounds of beef, and I'll come over and work for you for 3 days or something.
But when the government can pass rules, you're not allowed to sell pasteurized milk. Your neighbor can't walk over here and give you $5 for it and draw a gallon out of the tank. Or if the right person finds out, you get in big trouble.
They don't have access to the tanks to do it for themselves.
When you create that kind of red tape on everything, then you have to be beholden to a government.
Well, it's greed. Greed is the root cause of all of that, because as soon as you start putting big ag together, that's where it all stems from greed.
No, it all stems from control.
Which is really controlling greed.
They're hand in hand, really. They really go
very
hand
much
in hand.
so.
Yeah. If you have, y'all all know. I mean, I feel everything's got to be local. It's hard to say I don't go to a box store, don't go to the big stores. And we all do. But that money disappears.
It's gone.
You know, if you keep the max amount of money in the tightest circle possible, everybody benefits from it.
That's the GDP theory, and if you can keep that
No,
money
that's
in
just
circulation,
GB. That is the GB theory.
well, yeah, but that's the theory. If you can keep the cash money in local circulation for one or two more cycles, I tell you what, you raise everybody's standard of living.
But it's super hard to do that.
Of course it is.
Because of all the red tape.
Well,
Government tape.
We've
and
also
you're
been
competing with
addicted.
the internet. I mean, you're competing with,
Yep.
cheaper.
But we have been addicted to cheap food.
Yep.
And therein lies the problem, because the cheap food, let me tell you now,
Well, the
is
cheap
not
food ain't
good
cheap
food.
anymore either.
Well, no, it isn't. Not with inflation running. Oh, let me see. If you base it on 1974 principles of calculating inflation, we are well over 22%. And I don't care what anyone says. Oh, we calculate it this way. This is some smart ass accountant, statistician, right? Playing the books. Oh, well, we'll take this out. Well, we'll include this, but now we'll no. If it's 1974 way of the way the government calculated inflation in 1974, those were good principles then. We'd be at 22% plus inflation now.
I believe it. There's no doubt.
Oh, yeah.
Scary as hell. 22%. We're a third world bloody country.
We will be.
Yeah,
Keeps up.
we're coming that way. Let me tell you.
Yep, big time.
Well, I mean, so there's things we can do around here, and I think it's what we're doing here at this show is trying to encourage people to listen. And even if you're not around here, like, do this to your own local area. Start your own local podcast and tell all, your friends and your family to tune in and listen and get your updates. I mean, it doesn't have to be 2.5 hours long. It can, ours tend to run over because we drink a lot. We have some really interesting people that come on here, but you could do like a 30-minute thing just talking about your local news that your local newspaper is not going to cover. Get a little bit of inside thing, get some people in the town or your local government to be a little bit of inside source. And we've got our sources on the town council
and board of supervisors.
Yes, absolutely.
So, we do get, thankfully, the inside track.
But we're a little different here. We
Yeah.
focus a lot local, but we get the national guys to come in, and I want people to tune in and listen for the train wreck that is local politics for our specific thing. It's kind of like watching a TV show, like a reality show, but at the same time, we have some awesome local, regional, and national guests that you're all going to like. I don't think we've had a bad show. Everything we do, and we're trying to change the culture as well and get people interested in the Appalachian region. I know we got opioid issues. Coal country is, they're talking about these new EV plants or whatever they're trying to build in Kansas. And I saw some article that said it would take its entire own coal plant just to operate to build these EV vehicles. So, they're not doing anything.
Let's not fall for
but
that.
hey,
though.
great for coal country. But we got to find other ways. Like it's so beautiful down there. Get people interested, invested. Like there are so many beautiful hollers down there in Southwest Virginia that you could put an amphitheater up in and bring in great musical acts like Red Rocks in Colorado. It's natural. It's
Muddy.
It's
Muddy.
Red Rocks.
This year, the big festival, they had the floods. Everybody got hung up
Oh,
there
the
for
Blue
days.
Ridge.
No, Red Rocks.
What?
Did
I don't remember what you're talking. I don't know what you're talking about.
Like the big Burning Man festival this year.
That's not Red Rocks.
It was.
No, it's not.
it was still a big festival.
Burning Man
but-
is out in the middle of the
California.
desert. Red Rocks is Denver, Colorado. It's an amphitheater in between two massive rocks and a mountain that makes this natural.
I'm not going
acoustic.
to say you're right.
Look.
It's painful.
Well, somebody can Google it right now. But I mean, seriously.
Oh, I know you're right. I'm just not going to say it.
ATV riding, get people down there with big acts. Say, hey, come on down here with ATV festivals with big country music people. That brings people into the towns, restaurants. That's like you've got to sell people on tourism around here. That's what we're trying to do. I mean,
Well, tourism and agriculture. This is what the county was made on. So why on earth wouldn't you look to promote that?
and we do an awful job. I mean, the amount of NASCAR history and music history and moonshine history that is in this area between Franklin, Floyd,
Crooked Trail,
Patrick,
music. Yep.
and we do. What do? We throw money at Visit Virginia, Blue Ridge, or whatever, so they can make a couple of posts. We 6 figures to make a couple of. Look, I tell you what, you split that money up between me and Henry, and I guarantee you we'll bring 10 times the amount of people in this town than Visit Virginia's Blue Ridge does. It's just that simple. I mean,
We don't exist, Billy. We're a bunch of hillbillies. Everything is decided
that's okay though. We're
up
hill.
north.
Well, no, it's not. That's not this town. This town, we can find different ways to promote this stuff. This area, the NASCAR history that is here. Like I said, why don't we have museums? Why don't we have talks? Why aren't we going? I mean, you know what? I'm an anarchist. I don't want any of my tax dollars. I don't want any of my government. But that's my starting point. I'm willing to come and concede. You know what? If you're not going to take our money and blow it on ridiculous land purchases or trying to operate music venues, you got no businesses operating. I would rather you take that money and invest it into, a museum or something to get people. Actually, no, that's not even that. What the hell am I trying to get at?
What I'm going to say is, when did a town or a county become a business? Why not help the business owners or
be facilitators?
Because I mean, if you got the ability to mortgage the courthouse to buy two farms.
We've never brought that up on the show before because we can't verify it. But I heard somebody told me that a few years ago that's what happened. Is that?
I ain't on the board or nothing, but I mean, that was rumor in the holler.
How can we find that out? If they,
I think we need to speak to one of our sources.
They mortgage the court because I've heard it.
And therein lies a bit of an issue that we have, I think, nationally.
And then what happens?
But what I'm saying is, towns decided to become business owners. No.
What happens if they default on that? I mean, can the courthouse be turned into a spirit Halloween? What are we talking about here?
This is my
Look
next point.
It's happened,
right? So nationally, right, the debt is being held against future citizens of the country. Right, the national debt is allegedly being apportioned to future citizens of the country with taxpayer revenue. The algorithms are out there. If you produce only 2.4 kids, you can make that projection, and here comes the average tax bill that you can generate from that. You can start putting loans against potential income and where you are going to get your tax revenue from, which allows for some very shady bank deals. And I'm saying we are not your collateral for making these loans, and we shouldn't be. And the same should be said for when the county or the town puts up collateral and then it fails. Summit View Business Park, when it fails, then their recourse for whatever collateral they put up against that loan for that particular development never comes into play. Because what they do is, well, we'll just put up the property tax. Now, I'm not your collateral. I'm also not your piggy bank. And that's a concept that falls short because as soon as they get in power, they have their hand in that cookie jar and it's bottomless. And therein lies the problem. And we need to wake up to this shit.
But if there's no personal responsibility, like if you cannot get in trouble for doing something stupid,
you can't be held accountable.
If you cannot be held accountable, then why not? It ain't a dime out of your pocket, and you can't be held accountable. Well,
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, and that lies the problem all the way to the top.
Absolutely.
That's basically just what happened with George Santos, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they had a vote to get him out, and everybody knows how corrupt he is, and he survived. He's still there.
Yeah,
hold on. Is that the senator from New Jersey?
He's
New
a
York.
congressman.
New York,
the Republican guy.
Yeah.
Shady shit who lies through his teeth.
Yeah.
He's got several pending felonies.
Until there's personal accountability.
Well, there is nothing for that. It doesn't exist.
It from the top down in government. So nothing can change until you have you sit here and think, damn, if I got the chance of going to prison for 20 years for something stupid, I'm not going to do it.
Right.
I mean, Dr. Fauci should be locked under. But there's no accountability, so why not?
He should have been locked up about 10 times. He should have been locked up for what he did with AZT during the AIDS epidemic or whatever during the 90s. He should probably have been locked up for, didn't he fund that research where they put hound dogs or dogs, their heads in cages with like flesh-eating sand fleas or whatever to test like whatever. And they would cut their voice boxes out so they didn't have to hear them howl.
I mean,
these are things. Yeah. These for you Fauci
That's
worshipers.
Just grotesque.
You Fauci worshipers. This is exact. I mean, these things. This happened. This is mainstream media news for you corporate media news or whatever. This happened. He funded Dogs.
Now, I call Fauci, and I've refused to call him by his title.
Oh God,
That man is the closest thing to Josef Mengele, and I would challenge everyone that's listening to look up the horrendous things that man did. Right, that's our Josef Mengele right there.
oh, that's an evil human being.
Yeah,
And I don't say that like.
they're all evil.
I mean, you research past the first 2 or 3 pages, you're going to find he has been into the shadiest of shadies for years and years.
He is the highest paid government employee in the country over the president.
Talk about his patent revenue.
Yes.
Oh,
I'm not. We are not. What did he say? We are not. We do not have to disclose how many kickbacks we get from big pharma. No, you should absolutely have to. What are we talking about here? I mean,
and there's no bias in there, right?
No,
Right.
that's not a conflict of interest or anything like that. No.
But if I get in trouble if I don't disclose to the government that I gave one of my employees a raise.
Yeah, or if somebody sends me $601 on Venmo, they're right up behind then. Oh, well, you got to give us 100 of that. Why? This is his hard-earned money coming to me. I mean, and I was going to rant earlier, and I've been drinking a little bit tonight, so I'm going to pull back on my town because I had an argument going against them. Number one, they shouldn't be giving to town or county, whoever shouldn't be giving money to outside or like media sources. Like I said, keep that money in town, promote yourselves, like be facilitators, get out there and go and find people, get people to want to come in here, invest and build that museum for NASCAR and moonshine. And like Henry Law, that is one of the number one shows that's been on for 13 freaking seasons, and we don't promote it in the least around here. Like anywhere else he goes, he's treated like royalty. Around here, we don't talk about it. We don't mention it. I mean,
no promotion.
The NASCAR
from
history we have around here. We should have people in here all the time filling up Franklin County Speedway. We should have people filling up museums, people filling up restaurants, hotels. We should have great acts at the Harvester 4 days a week. I mean, this town, Floyd, Patrick, and all these places, if you get the right people in there, you can. I mean, Patrick County. You've got the Wood Brothers Museum. Sure. I mean, get a couple of bars in there and some music. I mean, like everybody's got opportunities.
I think
we're pissing them away because we're apathetic.
Well, I want to pull back a little bit on your comment there on the Harvester. I think sustaining 4 music acts, a week or whatever it may be, is maybe a bit too much because you can over.
But it's not. But it's not. And I'll tell you why it's not. Is because there's tons of towns out there in this world, like Asheville, like Abingdon, that or Floyd, that you can bring in acts like that. And if you stop with the restrictions, let people come in here and openly, freely market themselves and work. Like if the Morris Hotel was done by now, there's no reason. You got to get the right acts in there. I'm not saying you have to have 4 different acts a week, but maybe a Thursday act and then a Friday and Saturday act where a guy plays 2 nights in a row. Why? Because his biggest fans are going to come in and they're going to stay to hear 2 nights of music. They're going to stay in the hotel. They're going to eat at Buddy's one night or at Smokehouse. They're going to eat at the Burger Company the next night. They might go and get, breakfast or something at the Hub.
Do their warm-up acts at the Social House. What's their venue now in the basement?
The alley.
The alley. They should be working hand in hand with the Harvester. That to me, that concept, if it hasn't been taken up on, someone's not doing their job.
Or on nights when you get big names at the Harvester, especially on a Saturday, say, okay, well, we got big name at the Harvester, so we're having a pre-show right here at the farmer's market. Bring in some of the biggest local acts you got. Bring in Crawford and Power. Do what we got to do. Bring in Billy Hurt to play some fiddle. Oh, yeah. Bring in some of these guys. Heaven forbid Josh Grice and the Harwell Grice band, even though he's a failed musician.
Here we go.
The rest of his band are phenomenal music. I mean, it's amazing to watch 4 other guys carry one other guy so much. It's really like if you've ever watched hockey, it's like they are on the penalty kill for the entire set.
Get off your rant on Grice.
But I'm saying, get these guys up. The farmer's market right across the street. There's a perfect little area. They set up there. People come up, set up tents. You got a beer garden. Hey, if you're going to the big event at the Harvester, you get into this for free. If you're not, and you want to come hang out and not go to the big show at the Harvester, come listen to a local band, get you warmed up, sell beer, sell food. They can go to the Burger Company and go to Anastasia's. I mean, like
if you can't get into the Harvester because it has a limitation. Right?
Yeah. Party outside.
There's an alternate venue.
Have a couple of shows
but
going
you can't party outside because there's an ordinance.
Get rid of these damn
But
ordinances.
that's
This is
all
what
right.
I'm
So
talking about.
here's
This is
where I'm
what
going with
talking-
this.
Get rid of these damn ordinances.
You ever heard of Greenhall, Texas?
From you?
Nobody else has either. It's a hole in the wall.
Well, it's not even a wall. It's just
It's a village. But there, I mean, The Bachelorette's been there, filmed there. And I don't give a rat's ass about The Bachelorette, but that's no restrictions.
I can't believe you brought that up. Anyway, carry on.
Well, Amos is a big Bachelorette fan.
Oh,
By the
clearly.
way, I mean, I don't think he's watched the last
How do you
couple
know
of
that?
seasons.
Yeah.
I don't think he's know the
It
last.
does
couple of
beg the
seasons.
question. You see how that just turned around viciously and bit you in the arse? This is live recording.
So
Oh, he's a big Housewives of Orange County fan too.
Oh,
but
Damn.
I'm a big fan of Housewives for sure. Love my wife to death.
Well said, old chap.
So if you can get
she ain't
the
listening.
Bachelorette TV show to come to a bar that has old license plates nailed over rat holes and chicken wire on the windows.
It's like
That-
the old Roadhouse.
That's no restrictions. You know, whatever. If you can make $1, make it. That's the ones that are thriving. But when the town decides to become a business and tax the crap out of you, sneak around and find old silage trucks sitting in the woods for personal property taxes reasons, you got problems.
It tells me they're broke.
Yes, because they're buying farms at 50 times over the value. They're trying to turn themselves into a business with nothing to lose. My money, your money, I'll make the vote.
With an open checkbook,
Sure.
which is called taxpayer dollars.
Well, we went to that one town council meeting, and the guy was like, okay, so, really, this is a great situation y'all have here in this town. And we spent,
Well, the Harvard dude.
we spent God knows how much money on this Harvard guy to come in here and say
What
this
an arse.
nonsense. I could have brought Amos in there and did much, no disrespect to you, but I mean, this guy.
Oh, go
this
ahead.
is
You can disrespect me
freaking
all you want. You
ridiculous.
have for years.
I go in here, he's like, well, y'all are $5 million in debt, but you really could be $55 million, so you've got $50 million to work with. No, we don't. We're $5 million. We don't have
That's not
nothing
how
to
that
work
works.
with. No, but
If that's a
but I mean,
Harvard education
but that-
working
but
for you, I
this- I
want
mean,
nothing of it.
I was there for, you know what I mean? I
We
sat
were
there and
both
listened
there.
to this
I'm just
man
like,
say
I
that.
can't believe this dude is coming out with that shit.
What does this town? What are we talking about? Oh, we can go. How is this town going to, with 5,000 residents, going to?
And we paid that clown.
50 million. Yes, we probably paid him 6 figures, or at least 5.
So, Chip, give us your angle.
But
I want to get Chip in
So,
here on
and
the
that's-
local politics.
that just
I
keeps
probably
going
know some of these people.
Oh, I
down
bet
and
you
down
do.
and down. You have fundraisers at an elementary school for years and years for a new playground. They decide to build a cell phone tower
Oh, don't even.
in the playground. So you done spent $30,000 to an engineer to design a playground. Now you can't have a playground in the fall zone of a cell phone tower that we decide to put up on county property.
On the lowest piece
And
of land
so-
possible for a cell phone tower.
Yeah.
All these people that have donated and done this to get this money, pay this engineer, guess what? That's $30,000. You throw it out the door and start over.
And you know what? Guess what could have happened? You could have got 15 people from Callaway down there in one Saturday and built the best playground that would have lasted for 30 years.
But that ain't,
Right.
you can't do that.
And that's bullshit.
It is.
Why is that? That is, I mean, I know why
I
it
could
is.
have
know
built
why
that
it
bridge
is.
in Cave Spring over there in about 16 months too, instead of 5 years and 40 billion or whatever
Well-
the ever living.
That's where.
Red tape.
Well, it's town administrators and county administrators controlling
It's control.
the game,
It's back to the control issue.
which really is arse backwards, because our elected officials for the board of supervisors for the county are actually, they're the dog's tail, and they shouldn't be. They should be the dog, but the power is all with the administrators. I've got a problem with that, because our representatives are completely hamstrung.
No personal responsibility.
And the administrators,
They're professional
contracted,
administrators.
yeah, contracted.
They're like professional
Well, as far as
career politicians.
you know
They're
what?
the same thing.
Okay. Devil's advocate, not even devil's advocate, real quick, just from a different perspective and a little off. Patrick County, up here where you're from, y'all have a fantastic county administrator now, and I will give her a big shout out. Beth Sims, she worked around here for Franklin County for the longest time. Beth knows what she's doing. She's one of the good people to have. And, hopefully saying this doesn't get her fired because if she associates with us. But I just think she's a good person. She really does care about her job. Like that's the one thing about government. It's so hard to get people who care because it's really all about a paycheck. But she's like, she wants to do good with every opportunity she has. And I think Patrick County has knocked it out of the park with her.
She don't care about her job. She cares about people, the community. Like she is genuine.
Yeah, she loves
it. Takes a village.
Yes.
Like 100%.
Well, you know how you hear things through the grapevine. Everything I've heard about her has been spectacular locally. People really think a lot of her, so we're really excited to have her there.
You got a good one. Like, hold on to her, support her as much as you can. Give her the leeway she needs, and back her because that's a good one to have.
And that's what we need here locally. So how do you affect that? Because that has absolutely nothing to do with local elections, right? And that's my question to you, Chip. Is it's all well and good trying to affect and get the right people in as elected officials, but when they are dictated to by the administration that's already in place, there we have a problem.
And that's a unfortunate problem of local politics because that's sort of the way Virginia's set up.
Yep.
But I think, like you've just pointed out, if you've got the right people in those positions, you can take off. If you don't, I think you just, bang the table as loud as you can and say, hey, we need somebody else, or, we need new people making these decisions. But that's about what you're forced to do with the system that you're in.
I mean, we effected a certain amount of change within the school board a good few years back. And now we find that, the school board has decided in their infinite wisdom to elect a school board superintendent who is clearly a very progressive individual. And that to me, I find really disturbing that, have we held our school board accountable for that decision? No, we haven't, but what led them to, and the reports that I've had back was, he looked good on paper. He had all the credentials. And I'm just like, well, yeah, Hitler looked good on paper in 1933.
So does Billy, but he's photoshopped.
Well, Hitler was the Time Magazine Person of the Year.
Well, exactly. I mean, the King of England and the Prime Minister of England fell for that clown.
Do you know who else was Time Magazine Person of the Year in 2003?
2003.
I'll give you a hint. He's sitting right here in the room with you.
Wasn't Dale Earnhardt?
No. He was dead in 03. And he's not sitting in the room with us. And if he is, he's an angel on my shoulders.
Who? Go on, Billy. Come on.
The American Soldier was a 2003 Time Magazine Person of the Year. And as I was a soldier serving in Iraq,
you can take claim for it.
I take claim for it. And I'm most certainly, even though Time is a garbage magazine these days, but.
Am I hit?
And so if you want to come hang out or meet the Times Magazine 2003 Person of the Year, I encourage you to go to patreon.com/getontap and become a subscriber and find out the places we're going to be at and come hang out. And I'll give you an autograph if you'd like it. I'll sign your copy of your Time Magazine if you got it. That's patreon.com/getontap. Only $3 a month. You can give more if you want to, but I encourage you to. You're supporting stuff like this. You're supporting us getting together and hanging out and drinking a couple beers. But more importantly, the things we're going to be doing, we're going to talk about here in the second half of the show about us going to DC. That's what you're supporting. You everything you give, we put back in the community. We really do. I mean, every dollar you give, I ain't buying Ferraris or nothing. I don't make that much. Equipment and expenses and getting people here on the show like Chip and greasing his pockets with a good time and a couple liquor drinks because he's intelligent.
It's been a blast.
And yeah. And I mean, like, that's what we do here. And if you don't want to be a subscriber at patreon.com/getontap, then you can also go to Venmo or Cash App at GetOnTap or, and give a $5, $10 one-time donation or something that really helps. It's going a long way. We just released today our second part of our members only podcast for the militia. I want you to go, this show will be out on Wednesday morning. So if you haven't found it yet, go back and check it out. Normally we do an after show or whatever. That's when we did for that one, but we think it's important enough to get out to the people. We got a big rally coming up this Saturday, November 11th.
Those guys really knew their stuff.
Oh, you listen to that show?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, dude,
They
that
knew their
dude.
stuff.
I would love to sit him down with you and Spike and do a show. Just let y'all three, me and Simon, just sit back and Simon can't sit back and shut up, but I'll sit back and shut up and let Spike, Simon, and them two go. I mean, constitutional scholar. If look, I'm telling you what, people pay big money to go to conferences like we're going to LibertyCon, to sit down and listen to people speak that are constitutional scholars and are intelligent and stuff. You don't got to pay a damn thing. Come out to the Patriot Rally on November 11th at the park on 220.
The Summit View Pavilion.
The one we've been ripping to shreds here for the.
The irony is not less. But on that note, I'm hoping.
But he's a constitutional scholar.
Oh, absolutely, he is.
Genius.
And you will be educated, and your opinion, I hope, will be swayed, because there's been so much. The word militia, it has some very bad connotations. I mean, let's be honest about it.
Sure.
And some of that is actually well earned, I have to say.
Well, no, it's not. It's not, because the reason it is into that, the reason it has a bad connotation is because people have hijacked the term.
That's exactly.
They have hijacked, and the left has hijacked it and used it as a derogatory term.
And so has the far right.
Well, yes, true,
Absolutely,
true. They consider themselves a militia, but
And so now the cure is marketing. I mean, the cure is getting to the people that you need to and telling them this is the reality of the situation. Don't look at it this way.
Yeah, I mean, this is a historical. There is historical precedence in what they are trying to do, and I would urge as many people as possible to turn up at 1:00. Be there a little bit before 1:00. He's scheduled. Brian Wood is scheduled to start one of his speeches. And it's going to commence at 1:00. Be there a little bit earlier, and let's listen to what this man has to say, because you may be swayed. In fact, I guarantee you'll be swayed. There's no way that it can't happen.
It depends on if you're open-minded.
Well, you don't even have to be open-minded. Like if you have half a brain and you listen to what he's saying, and we're going to be set up there. I think we got us a tent spot.
Well, that's implying that most people have a half brain.
So we're going to set up. We're going to have our equipment set up.
Critical thinkers.
People are going to be coming by. We're going to be interviewing different people, talking to different people. We're going to be there all day long. I even think our good friends Brian and Darnell from the Misunderstood podcast are going to be setting up there as well. So maybe we'll jump on with them and say a couple things and talk our stuff. But most importantly, this is something that people pay good money to go listen to. This guy, if you haven't listened to that show yet, I'm not kidding. Like, when you think of militias, as Simon so eloquently put it a second ago, the far right has hijacked the term. You think of some slack-jawed redneck walking around with a white hood somewhere saying, no, this dude, I mean, when I met Brian, he ain't Rambo. He's closer to Bill Gates than Rambo. And that's not a derogatory to him. I'm just trying to use somebody culturally relevant as far as, perceived intelligence, but he's a genius.
He knows the Supreme Court cases, and he's accurate. He's not just throwing this out. So it was impressive.
Yeah. There's no smoke screen there in any way, shape, or form.
Well, then he's not like Bill Gates.
Well, I mean, I'm just talking.
Bill Gates would invent a virus and then invent a cure. I mean, come on.
Well, are you implying he did that on a computer or in reality, or both?
Probably both. Him and Fauci like each other a lot.
Well, Donald Trump wanted to make Bill Gates one of his advisors in the early beginning too.
But listen, I don't have that don't bother me.
If you did your research, it should.
No, because I would make people with advisors I totally disagreed with to know where the other side stood.
Yeah, but find people that disagree with you for decent enough reasons.
If you're an advisor, don't mean I'm going to take your advice.
Not financial reasons. Bill Gates has nothing but financial reasons to advise him. If you want somebody, go find somebody who's working in a low-level lab somewhere and say, hey, come advise me. He has no financial incentive to do so. He's not making it. Bill Gates has every bit of financial advantage or incentive. That's why you should.
Bill Gates ain't gonna make no money off of being a financial advisor to Trump. That don't help him none. But it help.
Then it's a waste of time.
But it could potentially help Trump understand where the ignorance is coming from.
If that was his,
why you think I keep you around,
if that was
Bill?
his angle, oh my Lord.
Oh, touche. Man, that was a shot to the heart.
Everybody wants to take shots. Everybody wants to take shots until they realize we've had NASCAR Winston Cup champions on the show. We've had Grammy Award winning artists. We've had CMA nominated artists. We've had the youngest person to ever be on all 50 ballots United States presidential election.
White House financial advisors.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
So, yes, I'm an ignorant dumb bastard until it comes time to show the resume.
I did not say that.
Hey, look.
But I mean, if that's a trigger for you,
Patreon.com/Get On Tap to subscribe to us, because it really is helping us do all these things and put us back into our community and help out. And at Get On Tap for Venmo and Cash App, $15, $10, $5, $1. We're going to be sending out a link here.
Seamless.
We're going to send out a link here soon. We're going to send out a link here soon to try and help us out with this DC trip we're going to talk about here shortly and why we're doing that. Because we want all your support, because look, everything we have done with this show, and I will say with confidence, every level we have strived to reach, we have reached in time that I didn't ever think possible. Every time we have strived for more, we have gotten, tenfold out of it. Like every move we make has been worthy, I said this show would be a success no matter how many years I did it. If I ever got somebody like Spike on, we got him on in 2 years. You know what I mean? We've just scratched the surface of what we're capable of doing. So your support, look, like I said, I ain't going out and buying steaks at Dippy's all night long. I'm really taking and putting back into the show. We need your support for this DC trip. We need your support to put back in our community, talk about people like Melvin's Farm to Fork, to talk about Foggy Ridge Cattle Company. Go find local meat from your friends. Go find local meat and produce. KC Farms. Yes, you want to go up there and go to the slaughterhouse. What's the name of yours again? I forget it every time because I think you changed it.
Rippling Creek.
But you don't do the same as the rest of them, though, Dave.
No.
But you've got a wood shop venture coming up here. What's the new name of that? It's not Blackwater Building and Custom Woodworking. We're going away from that because that's what we've talked about before. We got to go back and change. What's the holler you're going to name it after?
Well, I mean, I've got away from the house building, more into the farming and woodworking. But DeMillick Farms.
DeMillick.
Yeah.
And we're going to get a page going here. And I'm telling you what, like I said, you can walk around in the woods and stumble across an old log sitting there and scrape your knee, pick up that log, take it up out of the wood shop, and Amos will turn it into whatever you wanted. I'm telling you what, if you got money and you want some art, send it to this dude. This is an artist right here. Not this nonsense up in New York City where they throw some ketchup on a piece of paper and say this is art. No, that's bullshit. Yeah. That's a collapse of an empire is what that is when you're that bored.
Well, I know
what Amos does is art. Like
you ain't even got to have money. I like to barter.
Yeah, I saw him take a damn stick from the woods and turn it into a cane of a snake, and I'm talking a good snake too, not one. Not a.
It's not going to be outsourced to China. I can guarantee you that much.
No.
Oh, did I touch on something contentious?
But it ain't little woodworking he can do as well too. Cause say, he can go in there and design you a set of cabinets or a damn fireplace mantle or something crazy for your house. And I'm talking, look, I know we got a lot of people with some money out there listening to this show. Hit me up. I'll put you in touch with Amos. He's a freaking artist. And you might not always get what you expected, but you're going to get better because Amos is going to take your vision and he's going to sit there and allow you to understand how much greater that vision can go. That's why we bring him on the show all the time. He was my inspiration for the show. I mean, the man is he's a born politician.
I tried to talk you out of this for years.
He said you tried to make him do videos and everything.
I did. That was my original goal. My original goal was Bob Vila.
Will come.
Yeah, Bob Vila. All these people like Amos, like
Bob Vila. He wishes.
Dude, I'm just saying
he had good marketing.
Exactly.
There we go.
That's critical.
That's
critical. But I cuss too much.
But who cares? We got beat buttons. The way Amos puts stuff together, we put videos on him. We watch him do woodworking and stuff like that. We put it on YouTube. He would never bite. So I was like, fuck it, I'll do a excuse me. I mean to drop the F-bomb. We hadn't done that here lately a lot. I did.
First one.
No.
You were counting.
No.
I remember that.
You dropped the first one a minute in the show.
Did I say something
tonight
already?
Yes,
Is there
you did.
A quarter jar he's got to, contribute to?
No. But now we got to click this show has bad language box on the upload thing. But either way,
that was your bad language, Billy.
But no, it was Amos started off. He said the first one. Look, but he would. We would argue back and forth. I wanted to video him. I was like, all right, the hell with it. If he won't do that, I'm going to start a podcast and I'll show him that he probably should do that. And here we are. And here he is sitting on the podcast trying to argue about how bad of an idea it is while he's sitting on it, which is a complete total contradiction because it's a great idea. Look at the cool people we've met.
It will eventually come, Billy. But that's it's another technical nightmare.
Think about the stories he's going to have. We had the Ryan Wood story up at his wood shop.
And we haven't actually, and we never got the full story.
We're going to get it back.
Because when he is relinquished from he's got to be a good boy or whatever it may be, whatever term you call that.
Probation.
His probation. There is an element to that story that, quite frankly, Ryan does need to come back and explain, because there is a lot more to it. And it was brilliant.
Every time I see his parents up there too at the, RIP Chaos. Every time I see him up there, we sit there and have a ball talking about that and introduce his sister every single time we went up there. We had that story up there. We had Crawford and Power up there at the wood shop for, God knows, 6, 7. I
almost died.
6 or 7
and
hours on it.
That's due for a repeat.
I'm trying, Sean Greer. If you're listening, Sean and Jake and Ethan, whoever one of y'all listening, we're trying to make that happen, because they're coming back at, as far as I know, I don't know the date, and I'm not going to, but I think they're coming back to 5 Points here in the next couple of months. I don't know if it's on sale yet or not, so I'm not going to mention it, but that's another one we're going to have to go back to. We're going to get our table over on the side. That was one hell of a show. If you have not, and we need to get them back on the show. That show happened at the wood shop. You know what I mean? So the very place that I come up with the idea of it, we had a couple of artists up there who might be the biggest thing since sliced bread in a couple of years, sitting there at the wood shop.
Oh, for sure.
Talking,
they have it
out till 2:00
on a Tuesday night.
And the stories they told us after the show were better than anything we talked about on the show. Anything better. Like I said, Jake, man, how you going to tell this story after the recording stopped? I think we tried to get you up there.
We called him to find out if he knew the guy.
I was passing Josh as he was going to the wood shop. I met the guys there and had to leave for whatever reason it was. So I couldn't indulge in that show, and I'm kicking myself. So I cannot wait to be involved in the next Crawford and Powers show.
If you haven't listened to it yet, they go back and listen. It's probably a year and a half ago or so. You're going to have to search on the website, but go find Crawford and Power. It was one of the better shows we had. And what a couple of great artists. Their
show at 5 Points was off the chart.
Great entertainers.
Yeah.
Just off the chart.
And speaking of which, here, hopefully, I think at the early December, I talked to Tyler last week at 5 Points, I think. And, once again, another great supporter of our show.
Genius.
Somebody else that we love promoting, 5 Points Music Sanctuary in Roanoke. Go check them out on Facebook or whatever, social media. I think Facebook's their most accurate one. Go in there, check out their shows, find out, look, and find somebody on there that you like. And even if it's not somebody you like, you're not going to have a bad time over there. Every time we go over there, it's a good show. It's good music. I really like his style. We went over there last week because some Fish cover band was playing, and Tyler loves Fish. My wife loves Fish. So we all get to get, your wife loves shit?
Trey. Trey.
Okay. Then there we go. Yeah. We got an in. Now I can get in there, and you just bought me 15 extra minutes on the show tonight. Cause I'm going to go there and say, guess what? Chip's wife likes fish. So I'm sorry I ran over 15 extra minutes. And so we go over there.
So it's Chip's night to get through under the bus.
Absolutely. So we went over there and talked to Tyler, went to the show and spoke with him for about 30 minutes afterwards. And we're trying to go back over there at the beginning of December because Larry Kill is playing, and who else but Colby Helms is going to be opening for
Colby
him.
T.
And we've had Colby on the show
with his
before.
57 Gibson.
And what a phenomenal.
At 4'8".
What a phenomenal artist he is. So he's going to be opening. I think we're going to go over there and sit down with him, with Tyler, and with Larry and do a podcast. And then that night, maybe go to the show. And then later in that month, I'm thinking or hoping that's when Crawford and Power comes and plays. And then at the end of the month, 49 Winchester's coming here to the Harvester. We're going there on New Year's Eve night. I suggest anybody else get tickets and come join us. I can't wait to ring in the new year with them. Coal Country, Southwest Virginia band. So yeah, we got a lot of great things going on here lately. And all the things you do to subscribe for us is
it just
going
helps us
towards
promote.
that. It's going towards that. We're promoting all these local people, all these local bands, all these local acts. And the reason I love promoting so much, and the reason I'm so excited about what we got coming up here in the future is our trip coming up here to DC. And that's what we met in town tonight with some local business owners, and we met with Henry Lee because, and I'm going to let Chip take over here for a second, we have a golden opportunity, in my opinion, and maybe Chip will bring me back down to earth here for a second, but the way I look at it is, back in the springtime, we brought Spike down here and brought Spike's people, and our ultimate goal was to just blow it out of the water and impress the shit out of him for nothing else other than he might tell 2 or 3 people he knows that are big in that world to come here and hang out and check us out.
Well, that's already exploded.
Well, so what has happened in the meantime, you know what I mean? We connect and talk about every week. I text back and forth with him and I text back and forth with his people. And because of that event, now, they have invited us to come up to DC in February for what is called LibertyCon. And it is, Students for Liberty is the one hosting it. And we're talking, former congressmen are going to be up there. Spike's going to be up there, economists, Bitcoin millionaires and billionaires and this kind of thing. And we were invited by Spike's people because he kind of works with both of those. He works with Spike and he works with Students for Liberty, to come up here and set up. And I thought, for one, what a great honor just to even be extended the invite, for him to look at us and say, hey man, y'all would make a great fit up here. But for number 2, for us to be able to go up here and represent Appalachia and our area is what I'm most excited about. And
the spin-off is it's incalculable.
Well, what I'm trying to say here is Franklin County and Rocky Mount, what you did, you came out to the early end that night with Spike and you blew his mind. I had him down there, and Kyle Forey from Tin Can Locomotive and failed musician Josh Grice from the Holwell Grice Band, they came out and played music that night. We had Buddy down there with the food truck, and it was during hay season, and it was during banquet award season for local sports. So we only had about 60 to 70, 80 maybe people show up. But Spike, he's coming in expecting to talk 20, 30 minutes, whatever, and he could have got up on stage and talked for that amount of time. And he didn't, because he got up on stage, said a couple things, said, I'm having such a good time around here just interacting with each and every one of you. I would rather get back down here and do that. And that made it even better. So Rock, you all sold somebody a guy who has control of the Jewish space laser from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, came up here and was blown away by Appalachia. So y'all did y'all's job.
Bazooka Jew,
that's his nickname. Yes.
Oh, he's great.
Yeah. So we sold him and his people. Now they've invited us up to DC. So we're going up there for LibertyCon. And Chip, you've been up there because Being Libertarian has a massive following on all 3 major social media networks. You've been in the game for an awful long time. So we're trying to get people to, get behind us and support us and throw a little bit of money our way to pay for this trip, because we think we can do a lot to bring back excitement to the Appalachian area. But you've been up there before. So kind of explain to them what it is and what it's all about.
Well, like you got into it, it's a sort of consortium annually of entrepreneurs and business leaders internationally. It's Students for Liberty's international company, and a lot of college age students will be there. A lot of liberty minded folks will be there. I think the CEO of Whole Foods, as an example, he's usually a big headliner at this. Spike will be there. Gloria Alvarez, you can look her up on Instagram. The male followers of this show will really enjoy looking that up. She's liberty-minded, I think running for president in another country right now. So a lot of big people. We actually interviewed Andrew Yang, who was a presidential candidate at the time. He was fun. We interviewed several other folks there that really reality stars and that kind of thing. So it's in DC, and there's a good group of folks there that put it together. So, but I really think for this local area, and really just for Southside Virginia in general, it's an opportunity to get on a global scale, or because it puts you out there and you get to see people that you don't ordinarily will see, and it's social. It's an interactive event. It's only 2 days, so it's kind of rapid fire. You'll have these folks up there that on stage every 30 minutes, 45 minutes on different stages. But it's really an impressive event. So I think y'all will do well up there. I agree.
I'm very excited.
We're going to do well up
I
there
agree with
because
that.
you've been there before and you've seen what it has to offer, and I half expect a lot of the people are your collared shirts and your very straightforward types, and you're going to bring people up there with like Amos and John and Mullet right here in English accent, and we're going to stand out in that crowd.
Exactly.
I mean, there's Bitcoin millionaires and billionaires are going to be there as well, and we're putting ourselves in front of these guys, and we're trying to sell them on Appalachia. We're trying to sell them on, hey, look, we've got a golden opportunity down here. If you want to find somewhere to put your money safely, low taxes, low cost, you have promotional things that are already lined up between the moonshine and the NASCAR and the music, beginning of the Crooked Road. Like, we get in front of these people. We want them to come here, come vacation, maybe buy yourself a little plot of land somewhere in the country and have yourself a homestead. And then you find somebody local around here to take care of that when you're not around here. You know what I mean? Now you're employing them, but you're also preserving the area. And you're also somebody who has vested interest in here that has a little bit of money. You know what I mean? Like, when the Morris Hotel opens up, this conference is major. This conference is bringing in, I'm going to bring up the list here in a second, but, we're looking to get former Congressman Justin Amash on this show. We're looking to get former Congressman Joe Walsh on the show. Of course, Spike is going to be on here for an extended amount of time.
Well, it's an election year, too.
Exactly.
That just amplifies everything.
And that's not counting how many of the people that are going to show up that we don't even know of that might just want to just jump on the show for a few minutes. And there might be 50 people we run across, and if we get 5 of them, just 5 of them interested in coming to this area, come down here and have, when the Morris Hotel is built, we have the conference center, talk a couple of the big names that are there, come down here, let's have a little conference, let's have a Appalachian Liberty conference here at the hotel.
Yeah, very much so.
You come in for the weekend, you stay at the hotel, you go, you eat at the local spots. Maybe the Harfshire's got a big show. If not, one of the other local places, we all hang out.
You time it.
We send them home with, you try and time it. You send them home with some Henry Law's moonshine if they're 21 or older. You send them home with some kind of cool stuff, and they come back down here. You know what I mean? Like, we have hillbillies, Appalachian rednecks, slackjaws getting in the middle of the swamp with an opportunity to talk to people who really want the best for the country. And I think the best for the country is right here in our region, and taking what we have and expanding on it and having people follow our path. Support your neighbors, support your local farmers,
develop your community,
go eat at your local restaurants, stop with the franchises and the chains, do all these kind of things, find people that you can, you're like, and that's what we can do. We can go up there and get in front of these people. I mean, we've talked about, can we talk about the one person that's already confirmed to come on?
I think so.
You think we can?
Go ahead.
I'm going to let you do it because you're the one that talked to him though.
Well, who are you talking about?
Hold on. Who else do you have going?
Well, I got to make sure I got the right one.
Hold on. If you've got another one, I need to know who. I'm talking about based backpack.
Yeah. Let me.
Is there another one we have lined up too?
No. Let me make sure I've got the right bit. Yep. Yeah. Jaden out in Colorado.
Okay.
Yeah, Jaden. We were talking the other night, and just out of the blue, we got a message from Jaden, who's the based backpack kid out of Colorado, who got to talk to his got to talk to his vice principal about the patch on his backpack.
And this made national news like about 2.5 months ago.
It did, and he was he's an impressive kid, but he's going to be there speaking as well, and so we'll get to most certainly talk to him about his experience and hear specifically about what happened.
That's not counting all the rest. Like I said, the rest of the people I just named off. So we've got a golden opportunity to go up here, and hopefully, if we can talk Henry into maybe going up there with us, and we have an opportunity getting on a panel and having people ask us questions for 45 minutes, and him answering questions about how the police force was around here back in the day compared to how policing is done today. About how back in the day it was a gentleman's game, and now today it's so much different. And I know Henry, he doesn't want to get really political, and I completely appreciate that and understand that. And I don't want him to have to do that. I just want him to go up there and just tell his stories, and that's all it needs to be done because his stories are phenomenal. We sat down there with him tonight. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
Great. I mean, think about this. We got to just go sit and hang out at a Mexican restaurant here tonight and drink a little bit of liquor and hear moonshine stories from somebody who not only was a legend before the show ever came out, but, now he's an international star. Like, people everywhere know and love Henry Law. We got him right here in this town.
Yeah, and unrecognized really by the town, which I find bizarre.
More than it should be. And the county, more than it should be.
Well, and you talk about how this is connecting nationally. So, this bit we have coming up there in DC with Henry and the other folks, just totally lost my train of thought. Right in the middle of all that.
Yeah, we've done that several times. Don't be embarrassed about it.
Several times an episode. Well, but I mean,
here it is. It came back. So with the Israel-Palestine conflict, Justin Amash who has like just lost family in this conflict, and he's going to be there in February. So there's no telling between now and then.
Well, I think there's going to be a lot evolve over that situation over the next few days. Yeah, I mean that's such a current event, and
you get to hear his first-hand perspective. I mean that alone is worth going to this conference for, in my opinion.
Yeah, and just being on the precipice of this disaster. I mean, I'm so conflicted with what we see on the news, what we read and see on the alternate media, and it's very much in conflict. That narrative with itself, there's clearly something missing. So to have those direct perspectives, I think gives some validity to the story as it unfolds. And this is going to be nothing but a tragedy.
Because unfortunately, we can't. What can we believe otherwise?
It's hard to believe any of it. It really is. Like I'm sitting there and I'm following it on X, and I'm like, there's terrible stuff going on from both sides, and who knows to tell what's going on. All I really am preaching on there is let's just find a way to stop it. Because I know, I mean, like you'll see a video on there of, some kid who has just recently died and their parents holding them and screaming. You don't know the context of it. They tell you what it is, but you don't know if that's the truth or not. And at the end of the day, you're just like, I don't want our money going and supporting another war in the Middle East after we just got done supporting a war in Ukraine, after we just got done supporting a war in Syria, after we got done supporting a war in Libya, after we just got done supporting a war in Afghanistan, after we just got done supporting a war in Iraq that goes back to the first war in Iraq, goes back to the Cold War. I mean, for the love of God, let's stop. Let's just stop. Pull ourselves back. Let's focus on our border.
Whilst Kamala Harris's stepdaughter is raising millions for Hamas. I'm going to throw that in there because that just pissed me clean off.
That's bad.
And these woke individuals, I'm about done with that game. And as we all should be, wake the fuck up.
There it is. That's our third.
Seriously.
Well, and we talk about this DC trip too. We want to get people interested and excited. Look, come here. People ask me, I tell you what, we got some people up there. What would you ever do if you come across a decent amount of money? Like if somebody just come and said, hey, here's $500,000 invested into the show, you rock and roll with it. Well, the first thing I would do is I'd go up there and I would build that studio up in Callaway at the farm. I would give Amos some money, reinvest in that cabin, and now we have a place. Come up there.
That's a historical place.
It's a historical place. Now you have a studio, but you also have some lodging.
A venue.
So you come up there. You hang out, you have a good time. We bring in different local music. Maybe Billy Hurt, one of the world-class musicians, fiddlers, comes up there and plays a little bit of tunes for you. Maybe, Crawford and Powell come up, play a little private show. Maybe Colby comes up and plays a, private show, or a failed musician, Josh Grice, if we get desperate. Any of those people.
You're ruthless, Billy.
Come up there. You come up for a show, you got a pool table up there, you can shoot some pool, you can sit at the bar, you can hang out, there's a bonfire outside. Your people maybe want to come, they can stay in town at the hotel. But
ATV trails off the yin yang.
ATV trails, you got floating the river, come hunting if you want to. Like, we got so much to offer people to come down here and get away. And we wouldn't expect everybody. If you want to come down here, you don't want to get on the show and just get away, that's fine. And Danny will offer that up to you. But it'd be nice if at one point in time you come on the show and promote this area and we promote you and all kinds of things. Like we have so much to offer. And I think once we get up there and we get in front of people and we show them, what we have, because we got an A-team going up there because we got the mullet, we got the accent, we got the German Baptist, we got the black guy, and now we got the guy that's been there before who can show us the ropes. And the people that are going to come on here, we're going to be selling this region, but we're also going to be talking about some good shit like we're talking about here right now, like different ways to make yourselves better, to make your town better, to make your community better, to make your lives healthier. Go shop at your local areas. Go find your local farmers. Go find your local high school dropout like Amos to build you masterpieces. You know what I mean?
Which is what we need to be doing because you can't rely on the Fed to do it.
Yeah. I mean, look at Rome. Look at England, where you come from, and that hellscape. All the phenomenal architecture that has lasted for 400 or 500 years. 400 or 500 years.
Centuries.
They didn't have degrees, did they?
Hell no.
Didn't have degrees. Now, now we see what people with degrees build, and it's so boring and bland and state ready. And
Well, it's intellectually superior, which should offend just about everybody.
well, oh, for the love of God.
Sorry, did I dropped that bomb a little bit prematurely, but that's how I feel about it. You're not my intellectual superior. You don't know what is good for me, and you certainly don't know how I should think. So kiss my ass.
Perfect.
But I'm excited. I'm excited about, I mean, where in the hell? Okay, here he comes.
Damn.
Where did that come? What did you do?
Oh,
Huh? What did you do? How did you drive to the store to get that?
It was in his truck. He never goes anywhere
I
without
was
a
gonna-
24
okay.
pack.
I know good and well that Riverside don't sell Yingling, so, and if it is, it's in bottles. You didn't drive away. You went in there and hung out with my daughter. You didn't drive away. Huh?
I know exactly where that came from.
No, you didn't. Did you really?
he's just restocking what we cleared.
Hold on. Honest to goodness. That's what you did. Okay. So Amos left out of the room about 15 minutes ago. I thought he was going in there to give my daughter a hat and talk to her and hang out.
I thought he left.
We've already gone.
He did. He left, drove to the store, bought more beer, and then came back. Did you talk to my wife in the process?
Yes, she said she's got to get up early in the morning.
How much in trouble am I in?
Oh
No,
boy.
not yet.
Not yet. Well, how much longer do I have to
Thank
not yet? Because you just went and got a 12-pack. So how much not yet do I got?
Save that fish bit for later.
Yeah.
That's your Hail Mary right
My
there.
brownie points are in about negative 189.
I told you we need to work on brownie points.
How do you work on brownie points when one of our guests gets up and leaves in the middle of the show to drive to the store and get more beer?
During the middle of the week. Or
During the middle
beginning
of the week.
week.
Beginning of the week. How do you?
Well, tomorrow is election day, so we've got that going.
My
for us.
wife, but that doesn't affect my wife. Would you like to go in there? When we walk out of here, when this show's over with, I need you to walk around this house with her and let her ask you every question she has to ask about what we should do. No. You say you're coming tomorrow, whether you do or
You
not.
already said you're off.
But she might not be here. So what I need you to do is you to answer her questions before I leave out of here, because that's going to buy me another 15 minutes. So the fish reference and that you drove to the frickin' store to get more beer. We had plenty of beer in the refrigerator.
Not
and
the right
liquor.
kind, obviously.
Well,
Man,
so
wanted Yingling.
the beer was a second thought. Like I was out of cigarettes, and I mean, I tried.
You missed our entire segment on going to DC and why everything is going to matter and why
But I knew y'all had it, and I knew that I might need cigarettes, and
we
Yeah.
had it.
I was afraid Riverside was going to close, and then I figured out they were already closed.
Yeah.
So I went to the new store,
Okay.
and the guy running it's like, "Ooh, I like Cowboy,"
Oh, no.
Oh,
and I was like, "Damn, we're in a society where
Prejudice against cowboys.
a local don't even own the Amoco no more."
No.
But they had Yingling cans, which I congratulated him on.
Yeah. I mean,
Wise choice.
Oh, absolutely.
hey, that's what you
Oldest
call
brewery-
that's assimilation.
The only brewery in America that didn't close down during Prohibition.
Really.
But they're Yankees, but I don't hold it against them.
just barely. Just barely.
Now where's Simon going? You have to go downstairs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll be right back.
Oh my Lord. I'm in trouble.
No, that's why your wife loves us.
She loves y'all. She loves me, but
Yeah, I was thinking about this on the way to the store because I knew that this was going to get brought up. This is how you know you're surrounded with good friends. When your wife tells me, "Hey, let Billy know I got to get up early in the morning," because she knows if she tells you that, it don't mean shit.
That's a good.
And you're over at my
no,
place.
it does. Why you put me in that position? It means everything. I listen.
Oh, I'm going to put us all in that place.
Oh.
So you're over at my place, and my wife says, "Billy, let Amos know such and such." Our wives have more faith in our friends than they have in us, which I'm not sure is good or bad.
It's probably not.
And it's just she just knows. I mean, she's just smart.
Well, she I guess she feels like that we have more pull with each other than they do with us. That's bad, Billy.
It's not good. I don't know how to quantify it. And guys out there, if you got this situation going on with you, because I try to explain to my wife, I love her to death, and we're on two wavelengths when it comes to it. She doesn't understand why I might stay up till 3 o'clock in the morning when I go up to the wood shop, but I'm trying to make her understand that it's not a bar and it's not a titty club. And I really am sitting up there and we're having conversations till 2 or 3 in the morning. Like we're not looking at YouTubes. You can't. The internet sucks. There is nothing up
no
there.
phone service. No
so,
internet.
No. So we really are conversating. And the ideas I get from up there, I turn around and I take it here towards the show. That's the whole idea of the show is basically sitting around the wood shop talking. Like that's what I want. I want people to come around here and drink beer and shoot the shit and talk. Yeah. And that's what it is.
But on the flip side of that, she can't understand how you can come to the wood shop for 6 hours. You know, Reuben, Joel's brother, his wife said the same thing. Like he showed up there 5 hours later, gets home, not in good. She's not happy. Well, how can you sit up there for 5 hours and talk to Amos? And he was like, well, how can you go to the mall for 4 hours and shop?
There you go.
No different.
I can't use it on my wife though because she doesn't.
But now, if y'all start giving me the kind of money that they spend at the mall, I'm not going to turn it down.
No. Well, I mean, and this is a problem because it's hard for them to understand. It really is. It's hard for them to understand that we can go up there and just talk, and you never know who's going to show up. I mean, that's the reason my wife decided to marry me because one of the first times we hung out, took her up to Amos. Is like, well. I said, if she doesn't like this, then we're not going to work out. So let's take her up there. And I guess she pulled you off to the side and was like, I've never been to a place where people from 18 to 80 are sitting there and toking up and drinking beer and conversating.
And literally, like, I mean, I'm going to tell you, the wood shop's open door policy. And it'll be a Thursday night, a Friday night. Nothing's ever, no phone calls to nobody. And literally what he said, like the night he showed up with Tara, first time I'd ever met her, there was 20 plus people in my wood shop from 18 to 80.
Nice.
And like Tara was like, dude, I don't know you. I've never met you, but you got something going on. She's like, I've never in my life seen a place on a Friday night. There was people 18 years old to 80 years old.
Right.
And everybody having a good time.
Enjoy.
She's like, I don't know what you're doing, but you're doing something right.
The crazy thing is, that's the same exact thing Spike said to me when he left out of here. You know, he came in here to stay 2 or 3 days, and that next day after our big show, before they had to get on the plane, we hung out, went down to the Coffee Bean. Is that the name of it? What's the one down here in Rocky Mountain? My wife goes to it all the time. I love her to death. Kaylee.
Is it the Coffee Grinder?
Coffee. What's for the love of God? What's the one? I hate this.
Coffee Bean.
Kylie, I'm so sorry. The whole bean. The whole bean. Yes. My wife goes there 100 times a week. I love Kylie and them down there, but I'm terrible with names. But yeah, we go down there. We had a little bit of brunch or whatever before they left out of town. He was like, man, you got something different going on here. You got something different. I'm like, same thing my wife said.
You've always heard the old saying, it takes a village. And you can put that to however you want to, whether making it through life, raising a kid, because every bit of it goes hand in hand. It takes a village. You know, if your kid knows Billy and Callie's, my kid's out thinking about doing something stupid and runs into you, you hold as much clout as she knows daddy's going to know about it. So it don't matter if it's from starting a business, raising a kid, or everybody, just enjoying it. It takes a village. It really does. Now, yeah, you're going to have the bully in the village, but, you can weed that out.
They never last long.
That's right. The market provides.
We might turn them into a chalkboard or burn their beard off.
Well, that's the bottom line, and that's why this is our little team right here that's going, minus John Clements. John, we wish you were here tonight. But you can catch him on a lot of our old shows, The Gingerbread Man. He's been on air quite a bit. Very social individual.
Has Chip ever met John?
No.
I've not heard about him.
No.
Oh, you'd love John.
Oh, I'm telling you. And he'll be with us. He's going with us to DC. I mean, this is our team. We're going up here. We're putting ourselves in front of a lot of people, and we're going to bat for the Appalachian region. So, here in the meantime, we'll people, reach out to us, let us know what's important to you, what's important to everything that's going. I mean, we want to.
Well, I mean, I guess, no matter where I go, I like to emphasize local. Keep it local. I mean, I left here going to where I knew was a local mom and pop store. Apparently they had supper early tonight.
Yeah.
So I went to the next store. But I honestly think at the end of the day, keeping it local, everybody helping each other out will do way more than the government can ever promise.
Yeah,
they can promise a lot.
You can create your own parallel economy.
Yeah.
And it can't work for everything, but if you're smart enough,
it's not even in the monetary value of things. You know, somebody's sick. Somebody needs help. Man, you make a few phone calls. Next thing you know, you got 20 people show up on a Saturday, you know, split wood for the winter, fix this, do that. It don't hurt no, you know, it didn't take nothing out of nobody. Everybody's still getting drunk.
Driving up with a boatload of convoy of machinery to help me out.
Y'all gonna make him cry now. Don't start in on that.
Won't be the first time.
Don't start in on that. Don't start in on that.
But, you know, he's from across the ocean. He celebrates second place on 4th of July. We don't hold it against him.
Every year.
And what a party it is, by the way.
You know, and there's a lot of people moved into this region. Lots of people. I had a guy ask me one time, man, how long you got to live here before you're a local? I said, well, that just depends.
I understand that.
Yeah.
And this guy's lived here for 20 years. Simon had been here, I don't know, not very long at all.
2007.
He was considered a local pretty much right off the rip. Maybe that's because he had a hot wife. I don't know, but didn't hurt.
More than likely.
It don't matter how long you live somewhere. If you're willing to acclimate, if you move somewhere, man, because I love it, this, you know, hey, I have a connection with this place, then you leave all the shit you don't have a connection to behind. And if you do, you know, you're automatically a local. Or you can live there 30 years and everybody's like, he's still a damn Yankee.
Yeah.
You know, it has nothing to do with that.
That's one word, by the way.
Damn Yankee.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I always thought it was one word. I was explained to this by a fishing captain down wherever. And he was talking about damn Yankees. And I thought this was one word.
Nice.
And he goes, you know what I'm talking about, right? I said, no, not really. And then he explained. I went, damn Yankees are 2 words, but the way you say it is one. And I thought that was just precious.
Well,
that's classic.
Appalachian, I mean, we cut corners.
There you go.
You're going to say a while ago. I'm going to say a while ago.
Quick. That's right.
Wheelbarrow. He's a freaking wheelbarrow, damn it. Get here, Billy. Marble chewing. You gotta be kidding me.
Hold on. Wheelbarrow.
It's a wheelbarrow. It's a wheelbarrow.
Wheelbarrow.
Barrow.
No, I said a wheelbar.
And he goes, a wheelbar.
Oh, wow.
I said, no, I ain't got one of those.
I called something. I was like, man, I need to use your wheelbar. He was like, I ain't got one of them.
Because I didn't know what it was.
I was like, yeah, you
A wheelbar.
I was like, dude,
it's a break.
I was like, it's sitting up here in the barn.
So what'd you do with it?
He was like, I don't have one of them. He was like, what do you want to do with it? I was like, I'm wanting to run some gravel out of the basement. He was like, it's a wheelbarrow, you fucking hick. He thought I was talking about like a digging bar. I
thought it was a pry bar. You know,
wow.
It was a wheelbar, which is a wheelbarrow.
Oh, the language barrier is terrible.
I need a translator, clearly.
He sent his wife to town. He was at.
Oh, yeah, this is priceless.
He was asking me, what do you use in the pasture to get rid of the weeds? I was like, 240. He sends Heather all over Rocky Mount looking for 240 spray. It's 24D.
I thought it was 240, not 24D. I'm like, good Lord, what is going on here?
How many
That
stores
is a
did you
language
go to?
barrier.
How many stores did you go to?
2 or 3.
Jack Garst in Boone's Mill, Jeff's finally the one that figured it out. He was like, man, I think you're looking for 24D.
I got such a rash of shit for that. I mean, and rightly so, but easy mistake, right?
I guess.
Keep marble chewing fucking hillbilly.
Fucking goddamn English motherfucker.
Yeah, DC's waiting for y'all.
DC can't wait.
I met that motherfucker up there at Sterling's. I was like, man, I got to be friends with this guy.
I was talking to my wife last night about it, and I was like, we're going up to DC, man. They're putting us in front of some pretty white-collar people, and she just wanted to have the talk with me. She was like, she was like, please just, and not so many words, so just please don't be yourself.
She bring up the mullet? I mean, did she?
Okay. That was her least of her worries. I mean,
I think we need to actually have a little chat with Hunter and keep him on a retainer for that weekend.
Well, we've got one going with us.
Well, I'm not licensed in DC. DC's a separate jurisdiction.
I don't think.
And there's the problem. There's the problem in DC.
I'm 6'4". I can get back to Virginia.
Damn rules.
There you go.
I can run back to Virginia.
I don't think.
Run for the border, the Virginia border.
You better be able to swim.
Wow.
Huh?
You better be able to swim.
Look at my ears. I'm like Michael Phelps.
Well,
Look at his feet. Damn it. He don't need fins, flippers in your terminology.
Hell, I went damn scuba diving. They didn't have none to fit me. I had to go barefooted. And they were like, dude, we ain't got nothing that big.
Self-made fins.
Appalachian.
I wish we had cameras back when we used to play basketball with Amos.
I'm glad I didn't.
You want to talk about somebody? I mean, I really can't compare him to a basketball star out there. All I know is he would go in there, and in one game, he would absolutely dominate. He would like 9 rebounds and 14 points. And the next game, he'd go out there, and he couldn't hit the freaking rim if it was a broadside of a barn. It was the most wild, incredible. It was the most white basketball player you've ever seen in your entire life. Amazing. We go to the Christian Heritage Academy and play pickup games. Like, you got Amos on your team. I'm going to win. No.
Not necessarily.
No, not this time. Not this time.
It depended on the night. When you're hot, you're hot.
What in the world were we just laughing at so hard?
My translations.
Yes.
Yeah.
So rude.
Me and Simon trying to understand each other.
We figured it out.
I mean, who parks in a garage?
It's a garage.
Garrett.
What the hell is that shit?
You know, the second thing I would do, we talked about this while you were gone and just decided to just drive down the road to the store to bring yourself more beer. We were talking about the things I would do. If somebody came around and gave us big FU money right off the rip and said, all right, here's, $1 million, $500,000, whatever the case may be, into the show, the first thing I would do with that sponsorship money, whoever it might sponsor be, is I would throw about $40,000 your way and we go fix that cabin up because we need a spot. We need a spot for a studio to bring people up to have shooting pool, drinking beer, go ride the ATVs, have the experience because the Appalachian but we need that studio, the Appalachian studio in a 1700s, 1800s cabin. You know what I mean? Like
slash Timcast.
Look, we're an experience. Yeah. We're an experience. Like when you come on this show, and that's what I tell everybody. Like it's unfortunate it can't always be the same because if I could make every show like the Spike show, then I would be divorced. But we can still have a good time even if it's sitting right here. But why not take it all up out of the mountains where it makes now coming on the show becomes more than just coming on a show. It's not an interview, it's an experience. You come up there, you get to hang out, you get to shoot shit, you get to light a fire, you get to ride the mountain, you bring people in here.
Explosives.
So that's what I would do. And the second thing I would do with that FU money was go straight to Sterling and say, open back up the Callaway Brewing Company.
That's where I met him.
Would be the next thing I would do.
That's where we met.
For anybody else out there, that's another reason.
That's where it started.
That is another reason.
Married man riding around in a minivan.
That's another reason why you should go to patreon.com/getontap and subscribe, because if enough of you went out there and subscribed, I could go turn around and offer Sterling enough money. He only makes 6 figures or more. We would get him to come back here and open the brewery back up. You want to talk about, I mean, look, life is hard. Sterling offered a good time.
His beer was superb.
Oh, it was unbelievable.
Chip, I know you never like.
Well, it sounds like the DC experience will get us closer to getting this guy back.
I think so. I think because he's up here, isn't he?
Big pharma guy now.
He is.
Well, he's making insulin, like designer insulin in pharmaceutical.
I mean, he's a chemical genius.
Damn right he is. Look, I mean, he worked for the Armory before that.
Well, to try and put it in perspective, like, you had Chaos Mountain Brewery, which is a big brewery. You had Hammer and Forge down in Boone's Mill, both, big places, big marketing, right there, in open spots. Sterling had a brewery out of his shed.
2-car garage.
2-car garage.
Workshop.
Garage.
And on Friday and Saturday nights, we're bringing more people than any place around here could ever drink.
At the end of his driveway.
That's beautiful.
Right in the middle of nowhere.
Oh, my God, you have no idea.
That's beautiful.
No parking spots, not a big, nothing professional, literally beer in his garage.
Wow.
Thursday nights were awesome. Friday sucked ass at work. I lost 2 phones leaving that place.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of brain cells. Made a lot of friends.
I got street credibility from that brewery.
Yeah.
Imagine having that brewery at the
That brewery
end
made
of
you a local.
I mean,
How about that?
That brewery made you a local.
You're talking about a brewery set up in the middle that literally, when we say a garage, there's nothing professional about it. You go up in there, you hand him a couple of dollars, he might take it. He might just sit there and just give it to you. I don't even know if they had a credit card machine or anything up there, but
No.
there would be literally 150 people up there at any given time.
So, do you just have other work? Is that what ended this? Was he making more money elsewhere?
Well,
Okay.
yeah. I mean,
You can't hate that. You can't.
No, absolutely not.
But
I can.
This dude, he's a mad scientist.
You'd miss the hell out of it.
He's a mad scientist. Like he's on another level.
You don't have no idea how much it's missed. But no, absolutely, I can't. You can't. Big farmer, a big company comes calling, hey, we'll give you big money. I mean, bought his house here, moved here. Hell no.
Yep.
Plus, when you got kids and a wife, you're trying to set them up for the future.
Yeah, and he cranked them out like rabbits.
But if you go to patreon.com/getontap and you support us or go to
we
Get
can
On
bring
Tap
Sterling back.
we can bring Sterling.
This is the
Listen,
Sterling back
bring the
campaign.
Sterling back. I'm gonna you're not gonna be like. I mean, Sterling's place could have possibly been the Tons Tavern of our modern day.
No
Does
surrender.
anybody know what Tons Tavern is? If you don't, I guess that's where the Marine Corps was formed. Like
It's their birthday.
you really you come to the end
Marine
of
Corps
5
birthday.
Mile Mountain.
Yeah,
right?
11.
That's right.
The very end of 5 Mile
Is it
Mountain.
11?
You hook a left. You might go down that road a mile and a half or so.
Within a day or two, it's Marine Corps birthday.
Turn left off 5 Mile Mountain. You might go down a couple of miles or so, and right there, just in the middle of nowhere, there's
couple miles.
Oh, it's half a mile down the hill.
half a mile. Yeah, I mean,
That's
How
2
about
oak
that?
trees and a
nothing else
curve.
around.
That's it.
But the best beer, the best music. I mean, think about the guys who went up there and played music. Billy Hurt, he played music up there. One of the best fiddlers on the planet. Crawford and Power. I'm
walked
pretty
in
sure
there.
Crawford and Power played. I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure
because
failed musician Harwell Josh Grice played up.
that's how Crawford and Power got together.
Uh-huh.
My buddy Josh Grice. I'm not saying failed musician.
I walked in there one night with a hammer and a nail and a tankard. And
Nice.
Sterling looks at me and he goes, "What the hell are you doing?" I said, "Just forgive me." I went up to one of the wooden posts in the workshop, banged in the nail, hung up my tankard. I said, "That's what I'm doing."
And like the next night, I'm up there and I'm like,
Here.
whose is that hanging up there? He was like, oh, he's like this English guy that bought this place up on top of the hill up here. Then the next thing I know, I got this girl saying, hey, I heard you know something about goats. Hell, well, by the looks of you, I'm going to talk to you. Yeah, we had goats. Well, we got this place up here we want to get. Well, I'll help you. Then I met Simon.
It's like, oh, this is my husband
Mhm.
here.
Yeah, I was like, fuck.
Damn.
Damn it. But I'm kind of in love with him too. I like that voice.
It's
The garage.
that's right. Smooth.
Nissan. You know what a Nissan is?
No, but I've heard him say cuss words that I'm not nearly allowed to say, and somehow it's kind of romantic rolling off his tongue, and it's just...
I'm not doing it.
It's sick nasty.
I'm not doing it.
I ain't asking you to.
Okay.
Heard you say a lot of stuff I ain't asking you to say again. That baffles me.
It's a shocker. It's a spocker.
Oh no.
Look, this is exactly what we were talking about earlier right here. Like, I mean, this conversation, I mean, all we really do is we sit around and drink and have a good time, and we just throw a mic in front of us. But these are the conversations we have when we're sitting around at the wood shop or sitting around at a bar somewhere. Like, we have lost the art of conversation.
That's right. If you're
We
not
have
willing
lost-
to conversate, none of this would ever happen.
No, we have lost the art of conversating. We've lost the art of debate. We've lost the art of
Compromise.
Compromise. Yes,
Mhm.
all of that kind of stuff.
Yep.
Or even thinking about being uncomfortable. I mean, I've sparked a conversation with somebody that I was like, dude, only sparked the conversation because they were so far out of in freak land that I had to say something.
I know where you're going, but I'm
And,
not going to drop anything
you know,
there.
But if you never, or if you're so scared or never willing to start a conversation, dude, I know what it's like to be in the middle of 8 kids, everybody wearing suspenders and bonnets and getting taken pictures of and gawked at when you stop at a rest stop on the way to see your grandparents.
Well, yeah, because they think you just got off the Mayflower.
Well, we look like it.
Exactly. When I was a kid, that's what I thought. I was like, hell, there's pilgrims. Or German Baptists, but I mean, they look like, that's not disrespect or anything, but that's what you see in the history books is
Yeah, of
the
course.
bonnets and the hats. And then you,
Absolutely.
it's not
I
disrespect.
mean, people are mesmerized by it. I mean, I can remember many a times on road trips to out of state. I mean, little kids You stop at a rest stop or something, go in and use a bag. Dude, little kids are like turned around backwards from their parents staring at you.
What about the Chinese? Because they walk around truck stops and look at our trucks and are like, my God, these things are
Them are
massive.
lot lizards, Billy.
Okay. Carry on.
I said, them are lot lizards.
Oh, I know. I want to hear more stories about people gawking at y'all when taking pictures.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying, I was never scared to spark up a conversation with anybody.
No shit.
There it is. Yeah.
or start a fight if necessity.
Tell us about some of your fights. Let's hear about some of the fights.
Or drive down the road and have somebody launch a massive bag of flour onto your truck as it's driving past a farm.
Brand spanking new. Didn't have it but 2 weeks.
I don't think we've ever told this story on this show before, so I want to tell it right now because I forgot about it real quick.
And one of them the boy that got hit in the face, he's a German Baptist preacher.
Okay, let me explain how I came about this story because I've known Amos forever in a blue moon, and if I've heard this one, I didn't remember it. So with my job,
I've never heard it.
How'd you hear this story?
Okay, so with my job,
Chris?
no, I didn't. With my job, driving a tractor trailer takes me to some crazy places because I am honestly one of the best tractor trailer drivers in the country.
Yeah, that's high regards.
Clearly.
Yeah. I mean, I'm up there. My company, the way we go, the places, I'm definitely one of the best in the region.
Wow.
I would put Joel to shame.
I'll let y'all have that debate.
But we'll have that competition later. So, with my company, one of our deliveries, we do a lot of rural deliveries and farms and stuff and 18-wheelers, not milk trucks. I ain't Brad Kennett with Lawn Work Solutions. By the way, check the Lawn Work Solutions out. Check Lawn Work Solutions out. Brad comes by, does wonderful work on my yard every single year. He's a big supporter of the show. He's a Patreon member and subscriber.
Listens to every one of them.
Yeah, listens to every one of them and calls me about them all the time, about like Caleb does, too. It's like 2 peas in a freaking pod. But, not him, not hauling milk. I go to farms and stuff. And so I happened to look down and I had a delivery at a farm down Wadesboro Road. And I go up in there and I make the delivery and got to talking to the lady. And, she's a German Baptist lady. And got telling her who my stepdad was and, my connection to the church. And like I always do when I see somebody from the church, I said, Amos. Oh, Lord. Now I need Amos to start from the beginning because how this happened. I don't know what led to it. It was something to do with a bunch of other cars getting vandalized, but apparently a 50-pound or 25-pound sack of flour was launched off the top of a hill and hit a truck. Direct hit driving down the road. So, oof. And that's how I knew the story because I made a delivery there and I got to talking. Yes. And she was like, oh, let me tell you about Amos. And she said, because her son-in-law was one of your proteges back in the day. Yeah.
Montgomery. Titus Montgomery.
No, not her. Your protege, before the recent one. The guy, he's married to her. He's married to her daughter.
Titus Montgomery is married. No, Melvin?
No, the guy that used to work for you before your recent one.
Kendall.
Kendall's married to
her daughter.
Okay,
right.
There you go. That's how it come about. Okay, so I want you to explain this story from German Baptist people in a perspective.
All right, so
how this come up. Was this during the conference?
The communion meeting.
Okay.
Yeah, so every German Baptist district, they only have one communion a year, and it's a big ordeal. Like, I mean, people come in from all out of state, and as teenagers, your buddies come in from Ohio, Indiana, Kansas, Pennsylvania. So, God, I don't even know who all listens to this.
Well, if you're in the church, you shouldn't be listening to it. So if they say anything to you, then they're
yeah. But I'm getting ready to say. I mean,
they do though. I know.
So it was the local district's communion, and that particular farm, that one, I mean, their son. I mean, he was our age. We grew up. But he had a bunch of his buddies in here from all over the place. We were staying up the road at, now the guy owns the Massey Ferguson dealership in Rocky Mount. I was staying at his house. When Chevrolet changed their body style in 99, I pre-ordered the baddest pickup that you could order. Waited months and months on that thing. I had it like 2 weeks. So we decided to go up there. After the dew fell that night, we went up there and took bags of flour, cut the bags of flour and shipped flour. Because, I mean, we all kept our vehicles in pristine shape, man. Every one of us drove nice rides. Still to this day, you go past that church, I mean, every young boy in that church, those Beamers, Mercedes. I mean, I had a Super Coupe. So we go up there and park, stupid thinking. I park on the wrong side of the farm. So if we got caught, I had to go past the farm to go where I was going. Didn't think that one through. We go up there, we cut these bags of flour. We flour every vehicle sitting at that house. Like, I mean, a dude fell. I mean, it looked, just snowed them babies. Floured them all over. Well, somebody heard it. Somehow we got called out. We took off. We all took off with my truck. Man, I come down the road past that farm. They're all out there looking around. And one of our buddies that was in here from Pennsylvania, like, was standing out the passenger window of the truck, like sitting in the windows. As we go blowing past the farm, he's yelling, and all of a sudden a bag of flour comes launching off the bank. And
this is like a 50-foot bank too. This isn't, I mean, this is off a hill.
It's going to impact.
It hit the post on the passenger side. Like, all the windows are down. It's a 4-door Chevrolet.
Perfect shot.
Yeah, I mean, I just spent $40,000 on this truck. And in 99, that's a bunch of money. And it hit the passenger post at the windshield. That dude's hanging out the windshield, looking over and when it exploded, like, he's screaming, yelling out the window, all of a sudden, boom, everything whites out. And so much flour came inside the truck, like, I couldn't even see the drive. And all of a sudden, he quits hollering, and, like, I look over, he's sitting over there. Like, it exploded, and, like, put so much, like, he couldn't even breathe. Like, he's digging flour out of his mouth. So,
mind you, this is a religious sect of our community, by the way, in case you're wondering.
Very respectful.
Literally.
Oh, there wasn't nothing off limits. I mean, a practical joke, nothing was off limits. I mean, I'd take doorbell wire and hook it up to your spark plugs running underneath your car and stick it in the driver's seat under the cushion. You start your car, it'd be shocking the shit out of you.
Lord.
What the hell, man?
Good gracious.
Who in the world did you do that to?
I'm going to tell you right now, you get married, I'd go jimmy your locks while you was on your honeymoon and put 15, 20 boxes of Jell-O in the tank of your commode and every commode in the house. And you get home, you'd have Knox blocks set up in that shit.
That's just wrong.
Oh, dear.
Because none of them, like, none of them had sex till they were married. And so, when they got home, they're going to be holed up in there. Like, one of my buddies, I went one night and took finish nails. It was vinyl siding on the house. And as soon as the lights went off in the house, I took finish nails and me and one of my buddies strung fishing line way back in the field. I would sit there and dong the fishing line. And when that hum run to the nail, on the vinyl side, they'd come out, they'd turn the lights on. We'd wait till they go back in the house. We'd flick them lights, flick them lines again.
You're not
so
right.
They're trying to consummate their marriage, and you're out there cock blocking them.
Damn.
Coitus interruptus.
Hell, I climbed up on the chimney of one of their house in the wintertime right after they got married and set their grill up on top of the chimney and smoked them out of the house and left with the grill sitting on top of the chimney.
There's an admission, and it's on air.
Yeah. It don't matter. It was all clean fun, and we all knew we were susceptible. You did it. You expected it. My sister let a bunch of them in my house. They went in my bedroom, dumped everything out of every dresser, flipped my bed upside down, put about 200 rolls of toilet paper, wrapped but it was it was all in clean fun.
Harmless.
You did it. You expected it. But it didn't hurt nobody.
It sounds like a rugby club on tour.
Yes.
Awful.
Awful. Man, I mean, at any given time, I might go outside, take some napkins, wad them up, chew them up, get them good and wet, take your spark plugs off, stuff the wad of chewed up stuff, stick the spark plug wires back on. You start down the road, you be driving, all of a sudden that thing starts spitting and sputtering about 2 or 3 miles down the road as soon as the tissue dried out. Skipping like hell.
That's wrong.
Fucking ass.
That's evil.
That's technical genius.
It's a fine line.
It is indeed.
That's why they wanted to get rid of me so bad. But anyway, so we take the truck back to my buddy's house, and his mama feels so sorry for us because
Did she know that you just got done flouring about 30 other vehicles?
No. So we told her they threw a bag of flour in the truck.
Okay.
So she stood up half the night and cleaned my suit, cleaned our suits and stuff because all we had was one suit. I mean, them fucking things are expensive anyway. So we decide, all right, pay back. So we
pay back. They paid you back.
Well, but
you're going to pay them back.
Yeah.
I don't know if I heard this part of the story.
It's slightly
I don't think so.
I don't think I heard this part of the story.
We go the next morning. We wait till they all leave for church. We go back to their house, go in the house. I unmake the beds, and I dump the vacuum bags out from where we vacuumed out them.
Ooh. Oh, man.
That's wrong.
Where we vacuumed all the flour out of my truck all night long. And dump it in the boys, in their kids' bed. I didn't do it in the parents. It was the kids that was our age. They're the ones that threw the flour. They were responsible. So
no. Y'all were responsible. You did it to start off with. What are you talking about here?
Yeah, but.
Yeah, but.
So we dump all the flour in all their beds.
He just goes right back.
Make them back up. We get to church. We pull in church. Man, there's 50, 60 teenage kids. They're all standing there watching me pull in. I'm like, what the fuck? So these boys done went and told them that they threw a bag of flour and it was all inside the truck. They walk up and they looking in the truck. Ain't a spot of flour in there. And then Ben decides to turn the air conditioner on.
Uh-oh.
Oh.
We didn't think that.
No.
But we all did that to everybody. It wasn't nothing to get man, you wake up the next morning and have 400 or 500 rolls of toilet paper. Every tree be covered in toilet paper. But it was good, clean fun.
Good fun.
Yeah.
We don't have that anymore.
No.
That's what we need more of.
Because
This is who we're taking to D.C. right here.
Everybody gets hurt.
This is who we're putting in front of a Nobel Peace Prize nominated economists.
Quite right, too.
Well, you better bring that hat. He's got to bring that hat.
Everybody gets butthurt about everything. I fully expected. I knew I went into Walmart and bought every single piece of plastic silverware in that store, 10, 15,000 pieces, and got 20 of my buddies together. And this happened plenty of times, more than once. Went to another dude's house, and all of us spent an hour at 2:00 in the morning stabbing that shit in his yard.
What the hell?
And you wake up the next morning, you got 20,000 pieces of silverware stuck in your yard. There's only one of you, and you got to clean that shit the fuck up. There was 40 of us would do it.
Yeah,
but you knew it was coming back, potentially.
Inevitably.
Unless you outwitted them. Or all the girls let you in on what might happen that night, and you called them ahead of time.
Escalation's just a beautiful thing.
Oh, it was awesome. The way I grew up, minus the politics of the church, it can't be beat. It just can't be beat.
I think it goes the same for most people in rural Appalachia. You know,
that's the way everybody used to be growing up. The German Baptists just forget to change.
What about when you go monster truck a vehicle?
You was riding.
I wasn't driving. I was just riding.
I've heard this one.
We got an attorney sitting in here.
Don't say that.
I think statute of limitations is passed.
Well, I didn't. I done shook hands with the dude or shook his nubs.
Did you ever hear the story, Chip?
I don't think so.
It's been on many of our shows. We're going to have to tell it again because if you're listening for the first time, it pretty much encapsulates. This is the last story we'll tell before we get out of here. It's a good one to end off of.
And she stayed.
She married you. She married you.
I monster trucked a truck in my front yard and never told the dude I did it.
Look.
At my own house.
Let's rewind a second.
How's
that
work?
Back in the day, we're talking about 2004, right when I got back from Iraq. The economy is booming. Amos and his cousin are making hand over fist. I got so much money in my bank account from Iraq. I'm paying for it now. And sorry, Tara, for this. Because I could have paid off my college and I could have done a lot of smart things at the time. Instead.
Well, we did a lot of things.
Instead, when I got back from Iraq, I crashed on Amos's couch about 3 to 4 nights a week and would walk away from Mango's Bar and Grill with about a $1,400 tab on a random weekend. And this is in 2004. $1,400 in 2004. That's probably like what? Like
$1,400.
Today's money. Today's money. Today's money.
I don't even put 22% on that.
I can't even imagine. I could make $60,000 in a weekend on the side.
So,
but
Amos and then back then, I mean, you're talking about 22, 23-year-old kids. Kids, and that's what we were back then. We were kids, had their own lake house down there, lake accessible.
Nice.
We would have boats, Hardees, the craziest stuff you could ever imagine.
Palm trees in the basement.
So we have a party there one night, and at this point in time, me and Amos, we're friends enough to where he comes up to me and says, our neighbors, his neighbors at the time, they're stuck. There's a subdivision next door that's being built. It's not even under construction yet. It's just they're just doing the land
roads.
work.
It was just mud
roads and mud roads. He said, "Man, they're over there. They're stuck. They were full of wind and they were stuck." And me, being all gung ho, like, "Oh, let's go help them out. Let's go help them out." So me and Amos, and probably the second time he had ever hung out with his future wife and her friend.
I just met her.
Yeah, that night.
Like a week before.
Yeah. I'll jump in a truck. Let's go over there and let's help him out. You know what I mean? He's got his 84 Scottsdale. Let's go over there and help him pull it out. So we start driving. We leave his party and we're like, okay, well,
leave the house with 100 people in the basement.
Yeah, to go pick up his roommate and the neighbor. So there is nobody in the neighborhood that has any control over any of the two houses at the party's going on right now. It's all of us. So we take out and we jump out in his truck and we drive through the subdivision and I start getting a little thought in my head. I'm like, Amos, what? You're in a Scottsdale. Yeah. They're in a Hummer. How are they stuck? What are we talking about here? What's going on? So we get down there and we show up and the Hummer is sitting on three wheels. Two wheels.
Perfectly balanced it across a ravine. Had the one front and one back tire balanced, and one front and one back tire on the ground. Like they had balanced that thing out over the ditch.
And they also balanced out about 8 or 9 shots on the hood.
Of crown.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So we pull up there and I'm like, Amos, this doesn't sound right. And then we pull up and we look and he's like, you're damn right. It doesn't sound right. And we look at it and they're laughing. They weren't stuck. They wanted to just bring us out there to drink some shots. We're sitting there thinking we just left the whole entire party. But, back then you didn't have to worry about things like that.
Plus we took women with us.
Well, because you knew there was 50 other people in that house out of the 150 that were going to make sure your stuff was taken care of. That if you got out of line, they were going to step up. You know what I mean?
They wouldn't film you and post it.
Well, they wouldn't, but they would whoop the shit out of you.
That wasn't an option then.
No, but they would whoop the shit out of you. You got out of line.
Which would be preferable.
They'd be like, no, where's Amos at? Well, they're not around here. We're going to self-govern. You know what I mean? They're going to take care of things. So we were out there, and we all, drank our shots and have our good time or whatever. I should post at some point in time on Facebook the Google Earth images of this path that we took and how it makes so much sense to this. But I guess when we decided, all right, let's get back onto the party and make sure we govern things, jump back in everybody's trucks and their respective vehicles, and Amos decides he wants to drag race the Hummer back through the field onto the hardtop.
Uh-oh.
Okay. Since we're on, these dirt roads and this subdivision hasn't been developing these hills and stuff. It's a farm.
It's literally farm fields.
I'm not wearing my seatbelt. Why should I? We're just driving around the field.
I mean, we can see my house.
Yeah, I mean, it's right there. Why should I be bothered by putting a seatbelt on at this time, Amos? Why should I be bothered with it? So,
plenty of reasons.
So we're going through the field, and obviously he's smoking this Hummer to the hardtop. Amos hits the hardtop and immediately skids sideways to make that immediate right turn to get down his road, which his house was only 50 yards down that road. The neighbor's house, 20 yards down that road. He hits it in the high gear in this 84 Scottsdale, makes that right-hand turn and then guns it. We go about a quarter mile down to the bottom of the hill to where it makes a sharp, almost 90-degree turn to the left. And he, at this point in time, in this half mile, he's probably got up to 50 miles an hour. And we're heading straight for a pickup truck. Brakes ain't working worth a shit, of course. We don't have any seatbelts on. I see my life flashing before my eyes, say my last prayers, and I reach my hand over the shoulders of the girls in the vehicle, thinking that's going to do a damn thing. When it's not, we're going straight through the windshield and hitting this.
In reality, he just figured if he was leaving here, he's going to fill them up first. Carry on.
That was your wife right there, too.
I know.
It was a good feel. I'm just kidding. I didn't, Tina. I didn't. I'm not him. Please don't hold it against me. So we head straight for this pickup truck. And
It was like an extended cab S10.
Only by the grace of God and divine intervention did we not hit this thing head on and go straight out the windshield into the woods. Somehow, his tire turned at the precise, exact, perfect angle to where it hit the rear bumper of this S10 and turned and launched up into the air, crushed back down onto the cab, onto the hood, rolled back down, and then hit the road.
There goes an S10.
And we stopped. And Amos looked at me. He said, "Holy shit." We turned around. We went back up to the party.
No, we went up to the
neighbors.
To the neighbors.
Where
the Hummer stopped.
We got out of the truck. We said, "Holy shit." We looked around his truck. Not a lick of damage.
Not a scratch.
Not a scratch.
But I mean, it was way up. I mean, it was on 38, so it was
scratch. Let me walk over to the S10.
Well, no, like I was like, dude, I just hit a truck, and they're like, well, like the neighbor was like, dude, there ain't no scratches on your truck. Are you sure? I was like, yeah, man. Billy's like, yeah, dude, we just hit this truck, and he was like, well, like the neighbor literally right there. He looked at me. He said, you got two options.
Run, Forrest, run.
Either you can figure out whose truck it is and fess up, or you can deny it for the rest of your life.
We did both.
And
we did both.
And I said,
technically,
can I put it in your garage?
Garage.
Boom, we pulled that truck in there. We got in the penalty box in the back of that Hummer. He's like, well, let's go down there and make sure that you really hit it. I can't even see. I'm in the penalty box in the back of the Hummer. They're all up front, and we're going down past my house. All of a sudden, I hear Joe go, holy shit. And I'm like, oh, fuck. I look out the windshield. There's a tire laying in the middle of the road. Like the front tire was snapped off the truck. Truck's collapsed. Oh, my Lord. Sitting in my yard. I'm like, dude, I think that's Worm's truck. So I go into my house, and I'm like, hey, man.
We walk up to Worm.
Yeah, I'm like, hey, man. I was like, I think I hit your truck. And I was like, he was like, I drove my car. I was like, don't worry about it. Never said a word.
Never.
Dude, the cops showed up at like 3:00 in the morning. Rollback. They had to call rollbacks to get this dude's truck out of my front yard. And and then this year, oh God, this story keeps, it's got so many turns.
Hold on. Okay, so before we get to because this is a good way to end the show. Oh my God. So this happens. Like I said, we go up to Worm. We try and confess. We say, hey, look, we did. Yeah. He said it wasn't ours. So, okay. We're going to zip our lips forever. I got a call that night from the cops because I left. And ended up leaving. I took some folks home. I got a call from the cops and some woman. She was the mother of the person that had his car destroyed. He's like, I heard you were there at this party tonight. You might know something's going on. And I was like, I'm just DDing back and forth.
I'm chauffeuring
back and forth. I don't know nothing. I don't know a word.
Good answer.
Nothing. And that's
an attorney.
Good answer.
I said I don't know nothing else going on. So that was, but I got a call that night as well. Like, so I was expecting the next day to have some fireworks.
But like the troopers show up in the middle of the night. The boy wasn't even 21 years old. I didn't even know the kid that was at my party.
Shout out to Nubs, by the way.
Yeah, man.
That's who it was. His nickname was Nubs.
From Callaway. He don't have but one hand.
Yeah. So his nickname was Nubs.
So he called his older brother to come to call the cops because he wasn't 21. He was drunk. God, man, I'm so fucking lucky. Looking back on it 20 years ago. So cops show up and like where we had climbed up the side of that truck, like I had big Mickeys on the truck and it had white letters and it left big white marks. And the cop was like, well, he was like, y'all find out, somebody will know who did this. He was like, it looks to me like it's probably like a white pickup or white SUV. That's what you should be looking for. I said, my truck was dark blue. I was like, yeah, that sounds right.
Yep.
But, we're living in a lake subdivision. And the cop was like, man, he was like, listen, he was like, you need to, you might need to think about having big parties like this. He's like, neighbor, I was like, I didn't have no big party. He's like, you didn't? I was like, no, I just had a small get together. And as I said that, he takes that damn mag light and shines around. Well, there's a car all steamed up, rocking like hell. There's a bunch of beer cans laying in the middle of the street. And he was like, a small get together, huh? I was like, yeah, y'all see a big one.
Right. So part two of this story, sometime later.
10, 12 years later.
There was a kid who reached out to Amos.
No, what,
okay.
And like, we were downtown one night or something. And like, this dude just kept looking at me. And, you know, I mean, I was like, dude, I finally was like, man, I'm just going to go up and talk to this guy. So I walked up to him. I was like, hey, man, how you doing? Good. He was like, do I know you? I was like, nah, I don't think so. He was like, is your name Daniel Amos? Now, Daniel was my first cousin that lived with me down there.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, no. And he was like, did you live at the lake like early 2000s? I was like, yeah. He's like, man, I was at your party. I was at your house one night for a party. He was like, dude, I got a question, man. I need to know.
Oh, it's a tough beginning.
And I was like, what's up? He was like, all right. So he's like, dude, I'm going to lay it out. He was like, you know, I was like 18, 19 years old. Met up with a couple of my buddies. He was like, I'd never done anything. He was like, they fed me mushrooms.
Oh.
He's like, we all ate mushrooms. We were going to this lake house. They were going to this party of somebody they knew. He thought the guy's name was Daniel Amos, which makes sense. Both first names. But he was like, by the time we got there, he was like, I was freaking out, man. He's like, I couldn't even get out of the car. He was like, so they left me in the car. They go into this party. He was like, I'm sitting in the back seat, like freaking out, trying to get my shit together. And he was like, out of nowhere, this truck comes flying through the air, lands on top of this truck in front of me.
He was in it.
He was in the car behind it.
Oh,
He's like, lands on this truck and then just disappears.
wow.
His buddies came out from the party. They leave the party at some point during the night. And like, he told them like the next day or something, he's like, dude, man, some truck come flying through the air and landed on this truck in front of me. And they're like,
tripping on shrooms.
yeah, they're laughing
Right.
at him. They're like, dude, man, you was tripping balls. That didn't happen. And he was like, I swear, man, I see it. He was like, did that happen? I was like, he was like, dude, I was like, man, I'm going to tell you what, buddy. I was like, something like that really did happen down at the house. He was like, oh, thank God. Like, you could see the relief in his face 10, 12 years later. He was like, oh, thank God. He was like, I know I seen it. I wasn't going to tell him it was me. So then, like a year ago, and literally this happened 20 years ago.
This is 04, 05, something
Yeah.
like that.
So I'm sitting up at the wood shop one night, and one of my buddies is up there, one of his friends from Charlotte, they're up there hanging out. And my Nate dog brings up this story. And he was like, Nubs? I was like, yeah, that's what the dude, because like the dude that was at my party was like, came up and introduced himself to me after all this. I mean, long after this, he was like, hey, I'm Nubs. I went to shake his hand. He didn't have no fucking fingers. And I was like, oh, I see why.
And I thought Nubs was dead. I had heard a rumor that Nubs had passed away.
Because nothing was said about this story until he said something, because he was like, man, Nubs died.
Yeah. I thought I'd heard somewhere.
So this story, we tell the story. And like this boy's like, nah, man, Nubs ain't, like, he was like, I know that boy.
Oh,
I was like, nuh-uh. And this was literally like in the last year.
Yeah.
Oof.
All of a sudden the dude gets on his phone and calls, hey man, what you up to? Nah, nothing, inventing, doing blah, blah, blah. He was like, man, I would have known, if that happened, I would have known that. He's like, I've never heard nothing about that. Boom, he calls this dude up. He's like, hey man, he's like, I got a question. He was like early 2000s, he was like, did a truck of yours get crashed at a lake party? And like, I mean, on speakerphone, the dude's like, hell yeah, man, we never figured out who it was.
He called Nubs?
Yeah.
Yes, he called Nubs on the
Lord.
phone.
I mean,
man.
this is 20 years later.
Man,
Literally this.
that's wild.
And
Say nothing.
like the dude's like, I'm sitting here talking to the boy that did it. And he's like, no, get the fuck out of here. He was like, who was it? He was like, Amos. He was like, no, that's the dude that owned the house.
Oh,
He was like, no, that's the dude. Yeah, he owned the house and run over your truck that night. He was like, where you at?
oh no, that's what I was.
Oh, 30 minutes later, no, this motherfucker shows up at the wood shop.
Believe it.
He comes walking in. He's fucking 6'2", 300 fucking pounds. And I'm
Oh
like,
dear.
oh, fuck me. And dude, we fucking laughed. We had 20 years. He was like, dude, like a year ago, me and my brother were talking about that night. And like, he was like, we never, still to this day, could not figure out how the fuck the truck got smashed in that dude's yard at the lake.
Oh Lord.
Oh, wow.
But you know what?
Oh, he lives right up. He lives on Dillon's Mill. Like,
We're getting Nubs on the show at some point in time because we need his perspective. We need his perspective.
Well, his
from that
perspective
night.
was he was underage, walked out, and his truck was flat.
Well, because we've told this story on
We
the
need
show.
to bring Ryan and Nubs to the same
Ryan and
show.
Nubs at the same show. Woodshop Chronicles.
So
that's our 3rd year anniversary show right there.
the
3rd year anniversary this coming spring. Nubs and Ryan Woods.
The weekend before that, I'd met this girl at the brewery, at the bar, and she was in the truck when it happened. And now we've been together 18 years.
Married with a kid.
Yes.
Nice.
And I told her before, I was like, dude, you should have fucking run right then.
She knew what she was getting into.
Any girl.
Well done, Tina.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, my wife, God bless, she's put up with hell.
Chip, can you please, real quick, after hearing that story, as a defense attorney, go over all the charges that would have been brought upon? Just out of curiosity, what do we got going here?
Oh,
Felony
hell.
hit and run? Would that be considered?
Everything. I mean, just fucking line them up out of the book and throw it. It'd been like Liar Liar movie and Jim Carrey, man. Just, I mean, the list would be endless.
It'd have been pretty close.
Assume the position.
Yeah. But, I mean, it was just all these years, and everybody knows what happened. I mean, like, literally all the parties involved.
As long as they're cool, you're good. I think you're good.
Well, I mean, it's just, and so the Nubs, the guy that owned the truck, he's like, man, the only thing that pissed me off was like, he's like, I fucking had to pay that damn record motherfucker $300, whatever. I pulled $300 out of my pocket, and I was like,
Did you really?
yeah,
I would.
I handed Nubs $300 at the wood shop, and he was like, no, dude, no. He was like, I thought about it after that night multiple times. He was like, I was mad as fuck. I had to pay a record bill. I had a totaled fucking truck.
What did he tell his insurance? Like, what do you tell your insurance?
Well, it got totaled in a dude's front yard. I mean, what can you tell him? He had a police report and a rollback bill, but the insurance wouldn't cover the rollback bill. But he was like, man, I've thought about that over the years. He was like, I had no idea how that happened, but he was like, I figured however that happened, I saved somebody's life. Because, I mean, literally, he was right there at the woods. If we wouldn't hit that truck and monster trucked it, we would have, I mean.
We'd hit a tree.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And,
A big tree right there. A big tree.
I mean, it's just.
That's poetic.
Oh, it's unreal. You can't make that up.
That's what we're taking to D.C. right there. That's the kind of energy we're taking to Washington, D.C.
God
All right.
help us.
We've been
There's
going
more
on.
of that with John coming, right?
You don't even know.
Lord.
the
That's
stories
what I understand.
You don't even know the
Get me and
stories
him
about
together.
John. Oh my God! If you've listened to the show for the past couple of years, you've heard 2 stories more than any other. One story is Amos and me monster trucking. The other one is John Clements running from the law on his motorcycle and how he got the nickname the Gingerbread Man.
Beautiful.
I
need to hear that.
We have been.
Oh, yes, you do.
Yeah, oh my God! And a second time, actually, that's the time John went to weekend jail. So he went to weekend jail, and that's how he got the nickname. But there was another couple of times he and I got pulled over for running in excess of 130 miles an hour on motorcycles. I also got pulled over multiple times in Mustangs running. We used to, I mean, for the love of God, we used to run from the law so much.
Dude, we blocked 220.
God, oh God. We used to around here, you'd have drag races. People would go up there on dough run and they would meet up at the store. They'd come out there.
No, we'd meet up at the Roses.
Well, no, that was different times. I'm talking 2 different. So you'd have the Roses. That was our time. But I'm talking about when I was barely 16. And I'm talking the really older guys. They would go out there. You go up to the store on Doe Run, and a couple guys would meet up. They'd go out there on 220. You would have people. This is before cell phones. People.
Oh, we had to mark
miles
off.
back.
We had to half-mile mark.
Miles back would be slowing down traffic. People would go out there on 220 off the Doe Run exit, and they would get out there to the point that we had enough time
Perfect straight trip.
Because cars behind them were slowing up traffic purposely. They had enough time to
do a
go out
rolling
there.
roadblock.
Yeah, they would go out there and they had enough time to warm up their tires. They'd throw the liquid down on the asphalt. They'd sit there and spin them up and get them caught. Next thing you know, they'd stop. Boom, all the way down 220, all the way down that straight stretch. That was the guys I didn't know. The guys that I did know, we'd go up there to the Roses parking lot and to the Kroger parking lot back in the late 90s, early 2000s, and you'd go up there, you'd have a case of beer in every vehicle sitting there drinking. The cops roaming the parking lot going, yeah, y'all got to get out of here, knowing we're drunk. And then you would have people challenging each other for races. Isaiah Rickman had like a Ford Ranger back in the day that he put, I want to say, a Mustang engine in it. Mustang engine in it.
351.
And I mean, you would go out there and you would get on 220 at the exit and rock him out. And when you hit the end of the second bridge, you'd kick it to the next bridge. And
it was exactly a half mile.
Yeah. And most of the time we get away with it, but every now and then the cops
you'd have an audience at the half mile. Like people would hear that, hey, there's a couple guys going great. Where the half mile mark was, there'd be people sitting on the sides of 220.
Yeah. You do not get that these days. Like,
no,
you
probably hit the scanners.
You
just can't technology.
You can't.
You
Well, because somebody would screw it up on Facebook. Mm-hmm. Somebody would screw it up on Twitter or something like that. You would have people. But, I mean, these are the things.
Just like the cabin parties, my lake house parties, your cabin parties on the river. That can't happen anymore. Nobody can ever experience right, wrong, or indifferent. I like to think right.
No, in the early 2000s, there was 4 places to be at. It was either my cabin, it was either Amos's lake house, it was either Sterling's, or it was either my parties up in Radford, or the NAFs. I don't want to throw them out there. I don't want to throw them out there. Or the McKenna place, too.
You can't. At the McKenna place.
I mean, these are things that were like, look.
My steering wheel got ripped off my Chevy Dually at the McKenna farm. I drove it home with a pair of vice grips on the knob sticking out of the damn.
Do what you got to do.
Your steering wheel got stolen.
No, I don't. It got broke off. I don't have no idea how.
Why would anybody break off your steering wheel, though?
I don't know. I was not around for that part. I can't disclose the rest of that.
I mean, there are so many. I mean. Oh my
There's
God.
another story.
Oh my God. Chip, did you get in this kind of trouble growing up? No way. No way.
I could have. I had the SBI on me at one point, but
I never got in trouble. I got one speeding ticket my whole that's the only thing I got. And I was like 18.
Well, legal trouble, no. In the eyes of our parents and our community, public opinion.
A different time.
It really was. It was a great time, though. It was a phenomenal time. It was a time period where you could get away.
I mean, that's over. Technology's ended that.
Yeah.
But you know what, though? The good thing about us is we know how to avoid technology, so we can go up there and still have good times like that.
We didn't need technology.
Because every year there still is one good party. There is still one good party that shares the tradition of our old
Second
parties.
Place?
It does. It really does, Simon. I don't know if you know this or not, but you carry on a solid tradition of Franklin County parties that have been going on for years and years, and you have that base up there every year. That's the same base.
Because it's a local.
You have the same base that was at those parties at the lake.
Scary.
It was at those parties in Radford. It was at in my cabin. Here we are 20 years later, and you welcome them with open arms every single 4th of July.
Why do you think he can set something on a fence post and say, Amos, light
it? Off you go.
All right, we're going to get out of here because we've been going on for way too long. I know Simon's got to get home. I know Chip's got to get home. Amos, you're good because your wife is like my wife. We've all lost credibility.
Yeah.
What a show. What a fun time. I've had a blast.
Outstanding. That's been rising.
I have had, and you know, like I wanted to get more into the politics. I want to get more because Chip is a phenomenal mind when it comes to that kind of stuff. But when you get off on hillbilly stories, it's hard to turn away. And I want people to listen to this show, even if you're not from around here. Look, bring this to your hometown.
Wait till February.
Hillbilly stories are politics.
February. This is our team. This is our team in February. Look. This is our team minus John. And I know John's been on the show many a time, so go find him. But when we go up to DC February 2nd through the 4th, this is the team we're going to have up here. We're going to have the Pilgrim. We're going to have the Mullet. We're going to have the King. We're going to have the Lawyer, and we're going to have the diversity hire from John because he's black. Huh?
He ain't black.
His color of his
He's
skin,
gingerbread.
But he is a gingerbread man. So we are hitting all angles. We got them all. We got them all. But we're going to DC and we're going to make an impact. We're going to make a difference. That's why we need you to, number one, go to patreon.com/getontap. That's an okay way to go. But if you want to, if you want to do something else, go to at Get On Tap for Venmo and Cash App for one-time donation. We're going to take this to DC. We're going to get in front of some of the biggest names. Chip, tell them about the biggest names. We're going to have the biggest names in DC. We're going to get these people. Look, if we have 30 people to get in front of us, and if we can only convince 3 of them, which is 10%, which
turn
I think
me
we
loose.
can do, come here. Yes, turn him loose. Get him there. Come hang out with us. Look,
What could go wrong?
Take this podcast we did here tonight, transfer it up to the wood shop, and have some big time politician come up there. How can you go wrong with that?
Oh, lots of ways.
Like, how can you go wrong with that? Like you are really getting in there with the people. Like, this is what it's all about. This is we're going to go sell to those people, and this is what we're going to bring back to the town. We're going to bring back people. They're going to spend money here, spend money in Patrick County and Floyd County. We've got great opportunities here in Appalachia, right?
And I don't want to spoil who we could have for this because, it's I don't want to give it away, but we could have some really big names coming up, especially 3 months from now. So
huge.
It could be impressive.
Huge names. And you know what, honest to goodness, even if we just got the names
that's why you make the big bucks. You're way smarter than us.
The ones we've just mentioned off that we're going to have to come on the show. Look, get Justin Amash. Spike's already, we've already got Spike. Spike, Spike hadn't even got a chance to talk to Amos. I mean, once he talks to him, it's over.
I talked to him for a minute.
Yeah, that's right. You did on Friday.
But I had Hay to get up.
The night before down at the
yeah.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
At the early end.
Yeah. At the early end. Let him get in touch with some of them people. We will have people coming into this area. If you care about this area, if you love Appalachia, support us.
I don't even care if you care about this area. Figure out a good way to make a community and prosper from it. Have each other's back. I don't care where you're at. You ain't got to care about the mountains. I kind of do.
I think that becomes part of the game. You fall in love with it whether you want to or not.
Yeah. Well, you can't help it.
Yeah.
You can't. I mean, the people.
You can't help it.
You get west of Rocky Mount, man, it's beautiful.
Nothing but beauty, nothing but Appalachia, nothing but the mountains. Chip, I know you represent a phenomenal part of Appalachia, of the Patrick County, Floyd County.
That's us.
I mean, it really is.
I mean, they're us.
Yeah.
We're just on God's countryside.
I think once you get, I think Franklin County, Patrick and Floyd, and some parts of Roanoke are all kind of similar, and even some of Bedford. But the greatest part of Appalachia, you've got different, I think once you get into Galax and Hillsville, you got a different sect of people. Once you get down to the coal country, you got a different sect of people, but they're all fighters.
Yeah.
They're all fighters. They're all Appalachian fighters, and that's what we are.
Well, that's how Appalachia was settled.
Well, the local connection's what got me into the Appalachian Podcast, but the potential to expand that, like just example with Thomas Massey. I mean, going into Kentucky, Appalachia goes right through there.
Absolutely.
That connection is perfect.
And you know what? That's one person we are shooting for hard and heavy for that trip. We'll let that go. That's one person we're shooting hard and heavy for that February trip. So Thomas Massey, if you're listening, or anybody that is close to him is listening, you're an Appalachian farmer who went to MIT, who's going to get a chance to sit down and match wavelengths and brain links with Amos Denton. Think about this.
That don't take much time.
Think about this. A high school dropout farmer versus an MIT farmer, and I guarantee you there will not be much of difference in the intellect between them.
Very little.
Very little.
No, because
very little.
If you're a farmer, you do it for love.
Yes, you really.
You ain't doing it for money.
I mean, Amos, you're going to sit down with a guy who graduated from MIT, and you're going to talk farming. That's going to happen. Massey, you're coming on this show. I don't care what you think. I don't care what your people think.
There we go.
I don't care what anybody else thinks. Thomas Massey's coming on this show. We're going to make this happen. I'm going to get him down in February, sitting across from Amos Denton. I want them to go back and forth for 45 minutes. I think we're going to make that happen. Perfect. And if you don't know who Thomas Massey is, I encourage you to look him up. One of the most liberty-minded congressmen we have in the entire country. The only one who has the balls to stand up to both sides of the aisle. He stood up to Trump. He stood up to Biden.
So, stand for yourself. I mean,
stand for yourself, but support the people who are willing to stand up for you too. And they are few and far between in our government, and Massey is one of them.
That's right.
Yeah, I like him.
We're going to get him on here. You're going to sit across from an MIT farmer. You better have your shit together.
That's right.
When doesn't he?
Good question. How much liquor is the question? We're going to be in a hotel. I don't know if we're going to have to sneak our own liquor in. And it's DC. We're going to sneak a lot of things in. They're going to be watching us hard. They're going to be watching us.
I know for
hard that week. Hard, they're going to be watching us. Yeah. The Alphabet Boys are going to have a picnic that weekend.
I'm an international smuggler of Cuban cigars and rum.
Nice.
Trust me, we're going to win.
And I know for a fact I can get at least 3 cases of water onto a cruise boat that's all liquor in the water bottles.
Well, let's talk about this off. Yeah.
All right.
Oh, this is a long time ago.
Hopefully, like I also said, look, Plus, on top of all this stuff, I want you all to go to Henry Lee Law's Facebook page and urge the shit out of him to come up here to DC with us this weekend. We're going to try and make it happen. We're going to need your local support because this isn't going to be a cheap trip. We're working on ways to get some of our stuff comped, but at the same time, we're going to need you to speak out and reach out locally. We're going to probably provide a link here in the next couple of weeks for like a Give, Send, Go or something. Like, chip in. We're going to go up here. We're going to go up here. We're going to do this right here, but we're going to get people to come back to our area. You need to chip in. You need to help out. We're doing good things. Chip right here, massive reach on social media, is going to be teaming up with us. So it's going to be the Appalachian Podcast teaming up with Being Libertarian Media. We've got a German Baptist, we've got a black guy, we've got an Englishman, and we've got a mullet, and we've got a intelligent lawyer who's been to the event before to show us the ropes. Plus, we've got Spike and his guys leading the charge and throwing us different kind of people. This is something you need to support. We're getting people back to Franklin County. We're going to get people loving this area, loving Appalachia, Patrick County, Floyd County, Giles County, Galax, Hillsville, Fiddlers Convention. We've got so much to offer in this area. We're going to put it to the test. Amos?
I feel like Chip probably going to feel like he's corralling a bunch of monkeys humping a football.
You kidding me? I mean, I grew up in a town of 400 people. Come on now.
You can do it.
There you go.
I love it. I enjoy all of this.
Honest to goodness, I swear to God, and kudos to Chip's wife and Heather and
all
my
our
wife
wives.
and
Amen.
Tina,
Amen.
for letting us sit here for 2 hours and 45 minutes. I don't know how I'm going to do this show or not. We didn't do the after show tonight as we normally do because we released a militia after show this week early for our subscribers, and I want everybody to hear this show. I'm not going to split into two, even though it's going 2 hours and 45 minutes. We got a lot coming up here in the near future.
That's impressive.
I wish, God Almighty, I had the opportunity to sit here and go on for another 2 hours because I think we could. But the good thing is the Chip's only a hop, skip, and a jump away, and we're going to do this again, hopefully, here in the near future more and more times.
Well, there'll be a prelude to the event.
Exactly, because we're going to have another show preluding to the event before February. So, Chip, tell them where they can find you on Being Libertarian.
Absolutely. Well, Being Libertarian, you can look for us on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook. Our main page on Facebook, you probably can't find it, but you can find our other pages. At least about 100,000 followers. So if you find us, give us a like. If you don't,
isn't there a Space Force page too, or is that somebody else?
that's us as well.
Okay.
We try to mimic the United States Space Force, and we have a lot of fun with that page.
So go on that page and follow that tonight. That's
I'm going to.
That's U.S. Space Forces are great. Well, I mean, and that's the reach that we got. That's the opportunities that we got here. I've been a big fan of everything that Chip and Being Libertarian, those guys do. I don't know the rest of the guys that help him out here. Hopefully I get to meet them here in the future, but I've been a big fan of them here for years. And to have him being this close and this local and be able to come down here and hang out and have a good time. And I mean, introduce him to Amos.
I've been waiting to connect with y'all. I mean, I've wanted a local regional group to connect with, and this is it.
I enjoy him. I like him.
This is a team. This is a team minus John. John, we'll catch you here in DC. Simon,
I in trepidation going into the Viper's Nest. I can't wait.
Oh
It's going to be
God!
something.
we're going to have a good time. We'll get together here again here in the near future before we head up there for one more time.
I'm gonna need to call friends in low places for this episode.
Once again, patreon.com/get on tap to subscribe or get on tap for Venmo or Cash App, and at WB Riddle for PayPal, even though I hate using that because it's my name. But if you want to throw a $10, $5, $10 donation, we're getting ready to show a link here in the near future to be able to chip in for this trip. We're going to go up there and we're going to do our thing. But, otherwise, find us out there. We're having a good time on X. Instagram and Facebook. I'm on very little these days because they shadow ban us, and why go spend money over there when Twitter or X is paying me and people are engaging over there. So go find us over there for the engagement. We'll still release shows everywhere else. This weekend we've got the Patriot Rally coming up.
Yep, be there 1:00 for speeches from Brian Wood. Absolutely.
But if you want to come by and you want to just jump on the show, we're going to be set up. We're going to have our equipment set up.
Yep.
We're going to be doing interviews. So if you just want to come on and you're a random citizen, you want to ask some questions or hang out or talk.
A random citizen.
Yeah.
Isn't that a little bit
No, just anybody. If you want to come up there and sit on the show and ask us questions and hang out,
citizens
look,
are citizens.
this is like our Christmas show last year, where we invite anybody and everybody to come out, hang out, jump on the show, and talk. Right?
That's it.
That's it.
And it could be slightly random.
It could be slightly random, but you're going to get some great information from the militia. Chip has already told you. I mean, the dude's a constitutional scholar. You're going to get some great information. This is not slack-jawed hillbilly. Hey, man, your sister's got a pretty mouth kind of militia stuff. This is.
I'll take offense to that.
Come hang out and understand. Like, have an open mind and have a brain.
Yeah, and bear in mind that is your constitutional duty.
It is very much your constitutional duty. So come out and hang out with us here. Don't know what we got beyond that here in the near future, but we'll figure it out. Otherwise, Simon, love you.
Love you too.
Chip, love you. Amos,
Indeed,
love
sir.
you.
Love you.
Appreciate it.
So much. Go check
Mean
out Being
Mean it.
Libertarian on Facebook and keep tabs here in the near future. We're going to DC and kicking ass. Next
There we go.
time.
And
Thanks,
taking
guys.
names.
He didn't signal while changing lanes. They pulled him over, found her cocaine. She said, I love you. Yes, I love you forevermore. If you tell that policeman that cocaine load is yours, he spent time locked up while she ran around. Everyone knew it, small country town. While he lay rotten, Lord, she was blowing on his door. And the day they released him, well, he had nowhere to go. Lord, and his ashes to ashes, and you know it's dust to dust. Just another low down woman that a man can't trust. Day they released him, no one was there. Had she forgotten? Did she still care? He called up her mama, Lord, and these words he heard her cry. Lord, that no good daughter of mine spend all your money on cocaine, overdosed and died. Lord, it's ashes to ashes, and you know it's dust to dust. Just another low down woman in the spring one sunny day. My good gal left me and she went away. Now she's gone, I don't worry, because I'm sitting